NBC Sports presents the best of the National Football League, the American Football Conference. Today from Schaefer Stadium, it's the Buffalo Bills versus the New England Patriots. Schaefer Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts, and here's the situation. Buffalo is in to play the Patriots. If Buffalo wins today, they have their first Eastern Division title since the old AFL days back in 1966. If, however, New England should win today, also beat New Orleans next week, while Buffalo stumbles against San Francisco, it would be a tie, each club at 10-6, and New England would get the nod as the division titleist on the basis of better overall record within the division. Buffalo has won the toss. Mike Hubach kicks it off. Bounding down inside the 10-yard line, troubles for the Bills, and out of bounds goes Curtis Brown at about the 2-yard line. So the Bills will start deep in their own territory. Bob Costas along with Gene Washington. And let's take a look at the Bills offense. Joe Cribbs with an even 1,000 yards rushing on the year. He had 118 and 2 touchdowns the last time these two clubs met back in October in Buffalo. The receivers, Jerry Butler has 50 catches. Frank Lewis with 38, and Reuben Gant as the tight end. We'll also see a lot of Mike Kramer at tight end. And there is the offensive line. Conrad Dobler has been an inspirational force for them. Reggie McKenzie, the last link to that electric company team, which sprang O.J. Simpson for so many yards. Ken Jones, who many people are touting for the Pro Bowl this year. That offensive line has done a marvelous job. Ferguson has been sacked only 12 times this year, lowest in the entire NFL. He was dumped for losses 43 times in 1979. He's been sacked only 3 times in the last 8 weeks. Curtis Brown carries on first down, smack into the middle of the Patriot defense. Free safety Tim Fox came charging through and got in on the play. It's a 3-4 unit for the Patriots. Bishop, Hamilton, and Adams up front. Steve Nelson, their best linebacker, by far and away, he leads them in tackles this year. And the secondary, all #1 draft choices. Claiborne and Haynes are the corners. Sanford and Fox are the safeties. And their 5th defensive back, Roland James, the rookie out of Tennessee, also is a #1 pick. Back to Curtis Brown he goes, and Brown barely to the 4-yard line before being shoved back by inside linebacker Steve Nelson with help from Julius Adams, the right end. So now it will be 3rd and long for Buffalo, and in situations like this, they've been going to the shotgun, Gene, but if so, Ferguson will take the snap in his own end zone.
Well, I don't think they're in a position to go to the shotgun. I may be proven wrong, but I think that Chuck Knox is the kind of guy that he'll let his defense do their part. I think they'll do something fairly conservative, kick the ball away, and let his defense take over. New England couldn't ask for a better start. They're getting the breaks that Buffalo got in that first game.
3rd and 8 from the 4-yard line with 13:32 to play. Cribbs trying to sweep from out of the end zone. He'll be short of the first down, and they'll have to punt from near their own goal line. So Curtis Brown had trouble handling Mike Hubach's opening kickoff. It put them in a hole at the 2. They could not climb out of it. Let's watch Joe Cribbs trying to sweep.
As I mentioned before, I don't think they want to take any chances when they're down, backed up like this. Cribbs is the kind of guy, though, if he gets out on a sweep and he gets a guy out in front and gets a little crease, he's capable of going all the way. I mentioned before that New England got the break early, the kind of breaks that Buffalo had got in their first meeting when they played in that game with almost hurricane conditions, when New England would punt and the ball would roll all the way down. New England is really going to take out all stops today. They're going to have to do everything they can to establish something very early in this game.
Greg Cater, the rookie from Tennessee, 12th round draft choice, boots it. It's fielded by Roland James, and James gets it back nearly to the 40-yard line of Buffalo, so the Pats are in great shape. Cater actually was a 10th round choice this year, and he's been kicking at an average of 38.5 for Buffalo. Matt Cavanaugh in place of the injured Steve Grogan. Grogan is in uniform but bothered by a sore right knee. Vegas Ferguson and Don Calhoun are the backs, but New England uses 7 different running backs at some time or another, so we'll see them all. Morgan and Jackson rank 1-2 in the NFL in average yards per catch, and Russ Francis, the great tight end, and there is their offensive line. All are veterans except the second-year man, Wheeler. Hanna, of course, a perennial All-Pro. Lenkaitis, a 13-year man, is the center. Vegas Ferguson carries on first down. And Ferguson is to the 38-yard line of Buffalo. The Bills also play 3-4. Williams is their top sack man. Smerlis, a Pro Bowl candidate, at nose tackle. And Sherman White at the other side. Sanford, Haslett, Shane Nelson, and the ex-Ram Isaiah Robertson are the linebackers. Mario Clark and Charles Romes are the safeties. Steve Freeman, whose interception and touchdown return helped them to victory in overtime a week ago against the Rams, the strong safety. Bill Simpson, also a former Ram, the free safety. Back to throw is Kavanaugh, the former Pitt quarterback. And he swings it out to Don Calhoun. Calhoun moves inside the 35-yard line, close to a first down, but they'll be short of it. Jim Haslett makes the tackle. It'll be third and a long one.
I spoke to Isaiah Robertson before the game, and I said, Isaiah, what do you guys have to do to win? Isaiah said these guys are going to come out with screens, draws, reverses, long passes. He said they don't have anything to lose. They're going to put the ball up, and this is the way it's starting out. But I think Buffalo recognizes that. The key is going to be how will they hold up? How will they respond to all these trick kinds of plays?
Third down, and we'll call it 2 from the 33-yard line with 11:20 to play in the first quarter. Vegas Ferguson gets the call. Does he get 2 yards? Yes, and then some. Inside the 25-yard line. There's a flag down on the play. The safeties, Freeman and Simpson, combined on the tackle, and let's see what the call will be. Cal Lepore is the referee today, and there's the rest of his crew. It's against the Patriots. They'll walk back the other way.
The initial indication is going to be holding against the Patriots. They're in very good field position before this penalty anyway, and that's the kind of thing that you don't want to happen.
Holding, 81, offense, third down.
Russ Francis was holding. It cost them 10, back to the 43. It's third down and 12. If the Patriots should lose today, they would not be mathematically eliminated, but they would be virtually eliminated. Not only for the division title, but also a wild card spot. And now the Patriots go into the shotgun. Kavanaugh retreating back into Patriot territory, cocking once and twice and throwing, and he's got his man. Don Westbrook made the catch. Westbrook, who came in as the third wide receiver, took it inside Lucius Sanford, the outside linebacker, who made the stop but too late. They get the yardage they need. They pick up 21 and a first down.
The important thing about this is look at the amount of time that Kavanaugh has to throw the ball. The Bills are only rushing 3 guys. He gets plenty of time. Gets his receiver right in between the zone. He takes a good shot when he catches it. But if they get the time to throw the ball, this guy has the arm to get it to his receivers. And Harold Jackson, a guy who hasn't been used very much in the past, is looking for a big game today.
Jackson goes out wide to the right. They have 2 tight ends, Hasselbeck and Francis, in the lineup now. On first down from the 22-yard line, give it to Vegas Ferguson. Ferguson shedding tacklers, moving inside the 15, dragging people down to the 12. The rookie out of Notre Dame. Close to a first down. Let's see where they spot it. As you can see, he's been having the fine year, 655 yards.
When you said shedding tackles, that's a good way to describe this young player. He doesn't have the blazing speed that some of the running backs in the NFL, but he has great agility, he has good leg strength, and the players on the team characterize him as a tough runner. And that's something that you don't think about when you think about a guy who has this quickness. But when he gets in there, he can really get the yardage.
Second down and actually less than a yard to go for the first. No score, but the Patriots knocking on the door with Ferguson taking it outside for the first down. It'll be first and goal inside the 10-yard line. Fred Smerlis, the nose tackle, makes the tackle.
We're going to hear that name a lot today, Fred Smerlis, playing in that middle, the nose tackle. The guy is very strong, tremendous strength, and he has the ability to take on that center or guard, whoever fires out after him, neutralize a block, and then flow down the line of scrimmage either way.
Matt Kavanaugh on the season has completed 60% of his passes, 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Grogan, whom he replaced, had been hitting on 57% of his throws, 18 TDs, 22 picked off. In motion, it's Stanley Morgan. On the ground, Vegas Ferguson, touchdown. Went right through that hole and just sauntered into the end zone untouched. John Hanna and Sam Adams opened the hole up for him.
What a hole that was. I think I could have gone through that hole, maybe even you, Bob. Let's take a look at this. These guys up front for the Pats are doing a super job. When Vegas gets this ball and cuts back, there's no one there. The middle linebackers were screened off very effectively, and he walked right into the end zone.
Also have to give some credit to center Bill Lankaitis for his block. So with 8 minutes and 48 seconds remaining, John Smith comes in to kick. Smith trying to add the point after touchdown. He's been perfect on 43 of 43, now 44 in a row on conversion tries for John Smith. So, after taking good field position on the punt, the Patriots take it home with 8:48 left. They lead it 7-0. Vegas Ferguson, who scores his second touchdown running this season. He has been their leading rusher, but it's been Don Calhoun more often than not who's taken it into the end zone. Calhoun has scored 8 touchdowns on the ground. Mike Hubach kicks off again, and Curtis Brown fields this one a step into the end zone and decides to bring it back. Curtis Brown, 15, 20, 22 or 3-yard line before going down. Gene, the last time these two teams met in Buffalo in October, the Bills dominated and won 31-13 and held the Patriots to just 39 yards rushing for the game. But on that last drive, the Pats moved the ball well on the ground with Ferguson.
Well, they did, but I think what we're going to see, though, from the Pats is we're going to see the ball put in the air more today than they have in the last few games. When Grogan got injured, when he hurt his knees, it's like a baseball picture. Your strength comes from your legs, and he wasn't able to throw the ball effectively. They were 6-2 before he got injured. Now they know they have to get a good start. They're going to put the ball in the air in spite of the fact that they ran well in the initial opener.
Long count from Ferguson, and flags fly before Joe Cribbs can take off. Cal Lepore will give us the indication. Illegal procedure against the Bills. It'll be 1st and 15 coming up.
Bob, I think there's something interesting, even though the game is early, there's something interesting that's happening, and I'm feeling it up here. The Buffalo Bills wanted to make sure that they had their concentration going. Wait till after this.
Ball start, 72. Offense, first down.
Ken Jones on the false start, Gene.
Chuck Knox wanted to make sure that his team had their concentration going. They didn't allow anyone in the locker room before the game. What he was trying to avoid was things like that just happened. A false start. The guy bumbling the kickoff. They don't want that kind of thing in this game.
Joe Cribbs back almost to the original line of scrimmage. Ray Claiborne from his left corner spot makes the tackle. The last time these teams met in October, Cribbs had the best day of an outstanding rookie season, 2 touchdowns and 118 yards rushing. He came into this game with an even 1,000 yards on the ground, second in his conference to Earl Campbell of Houston. But if you go over to the NFC, he also trails the likes of Peyton, Sims, Anderson, and Dorsett. 3 wide receivers are in. The lone running back is Curtis Brown. 2nd and 12. Ferguson dropping to throw with time and with a receiver. It's caught by Jerry Butler, his 51st catch of the season. Steve Nelson shoves him back.
You see how many red shirts you saw on that ball? That's a good indication that these guys are really fired up. They're not allowing just one man to make the tackle. When the receiver catches that ball, you'll see these red shirts converge on the guy. Butler catches that ball, he knows they're coming, and he's trying to protect it.
They got 5, setting up 3rd and 7. The inside linebackers in a 3-4 will always make more tackles than the other players, but Nelson's lead in tackles for the Patriots is most impressive. He is in on so many plays that inside linebacker or not, it's remarkable.
The center of that defense and a guy that's surely headed for the Pro Bowl this year.
James in as the 5th defensive back, motion along the line, flags fly out of the shotgun. Ferguson goes through with the play. The catch is not good, out of bounds, and let's see what the penalty will be. Butler caught the ball, but not in bounds.
I think New England's going to be offsides. I think they got a little jump there. Tremendous catch on the part of Butler on the sideline. Ferguson's very cool. He stood back there and he waited as long as he had to before he threw that ball. And here's a guy that's just been tremendous this year. Very consistent, very cool. A team needs a good quarterback if they're going to go all the way, and Ferguson can take this ball club all the way.
Ferguson's numbers: 57% completions, 19 touchdowns, 18 have been picked off. Here's Cal Lepore.
Pitch right in. Defense, 3rd down. 3rd down and 2.
So now it's 3rd and 2 from the 31-yard line with 7 minutes and 2 seconds to play in the 1st quarter. Joe Cribbs and Roosevelt Leaks are in. They give the ball to Cribbs. He needs 2 yards. He may not get it. Change of direction, and he's short of the stick unless they get a very charitable spot. There is also a flag down in the backfield.
That was a late flag, and it was thrown in the area. Usually when it's in that area, it's holding against the offense.
Face mask. Buffalo has a first down.
Let's take a look at Cribbs. He has been doing everything for this club this year. Watch how he cuts back. This is one of the things that he does so well. He gets the traffic flowing in one direction, and he has that ability, like O.J. Simpson had when he was at Buffalo, to be able to stop virtually on a dime and accelerate and come upfield, and he's able to get a gain out of something that could have very easily ended up being a loss.
4-0. Defense, the first down.
Mike Haynes grabbed the face mask. It's a first down. The ball placed at the 35-yard line. 6:56 to play, first quarter. There's Haynes, contract pulled out earlier in the season. Has come back to reclaim that right corner spot. In his 5th season, the first 4 campaigns saw him go to the Pro Bowl every time. Ferguson will throw on first down. Swings it out to Curtis Brown. Brown, 40-yard line, 42, a gain of 7. It'll be 2nd and 3. Steve Nelson again in on the play. Mike Hawkins was there to help him.
Let's take a look at Steve Nelson in the middle. You mentioned before, he's in on all the plays. He has a sense of where that ball is going to be. He's a student of the game. He knows what a football team is likely to do, and he has such agility and quickness that he's able to cover a lot of territory.
The Bills are 10-4, and they have beaten the big clubs. They've beaten New England. They beat the Rams last week. They've beaten Pittsburgh. They are a victory away if they win here today. And down goes Ferguson on the sack, which is something that hasn't happened too frequently. Mike Hawkins came in from the outside linebacker spot and sacked him. That is only the 13th time all season that Ferguson has been sacked, lowest total in the entire NFL, and he appears to be hurt on the play. When these teams played back in October in Buffalo, the Patriots did not get to Ferguson a single time. Backup quarterback Dan Minucci, number 11, puts the helmet on and talks to Chuck Knox on the Buffalo sideline. Minucci in his 2nd year out of Kansas State.
That was a broken play. You mentioned they hadn't been sacked much, but this was a broken play and he had no place to go.
We'll have a report on Ferguson when we come back.
They're taking Ferguson off. It looks like either a knee or an ankle. He may be able to come back, but it doesn't look good. This was obviously a broken play. He turned around. Let's take a look at our replay. We have a good shot from the end zone. He turned around to hand the ball off, and he saw that Cribbs didn't want it. Now, I don't know who was at fault, but he didn't have any place to go, and you can see where his knee gets buckled under him.
So now Dan Minucci comes in, and Minucci has been in on only 1 play from scrimmage all season long, and he has not thrown a pass all season. In a game that Buffalo needs to win to clinch the Eastern Division title, their first championship it would be since 1966 in the old AFL days. They have been a wild card playoff team before, the O.J. Simpson club early in the 70s. Here's Cribbs trying to come outside and going absolutely nowhere in the clutches of Tony McGee. So now the Bills will have to punt again.
Even though the Bills were in that shotgun formation, I don't think they wanted to put the ball in the air right away. They have Minucci in there. He hasn't thrown the ball to any of the receivers, only in practice. You come in this situation, you don't want to put the ball up right away. He's going to be in a tough situation. His receivers are used to having Ferguson throw the ball, and every quarterback is a little different. The pressure's going to be on them now. They may have to change their game plan a little bit.
Greg Cater to kick. Back deep is Roland James, who ranks 4th behind Smith of Kansas City, Fuller of San Diego, and Bell of Pittsburgh in AFC punt returns. And this one goes squibbing off the foot and rolls down inside the 40. Actually, it could be worse considering the roll that they got out of it. And the Patriots will have the ball around their own 37 or 38-yard line following a 29-yard punt by Greg Cater. So with 4:46 to play first quarter, the Patriots have the ball and the lead. Back at Schaefer Stadium, Bob Costas along with Gene Washington, when they played in Buffalo a while back, things went the Bills' way. Early breaks to the Patriots here.
Well, so far that's the big difference. When they were up in Buffalo, the breaks were going for the Bills. Punts like that were going the other way. New England has a lead now. They're getting all the breaks. They're in good field position. If they score now, things are going to be very tough for Buffalo.
It is do or die right now for the Patriots. They started out 6-1. Since then, they've gone 2-5, including very tough losses the last 2 weeks to San Francisco, and then this past Monday night at Miami. They lost a game that they still feel they should have won in overtime against the Dolphins. This has put their backs to the wall. Matt Cavanaugh with a fake and a drop and a pass on first down the right sideline, incomplete, and Stanley Morgan was all alone. Oh, as an ex-receiver, Gene, you've got to feel for that. You've got the defense beaten, and your man misses you.
Well, you said it. He was wide open, and Stanley Morgan can run faster than anyone when he's out in that position. Cavanaugh put the ball up, and I wouldn't be surprised if the wind got it a little bit and carried it just a little too far.
Cleveland at Minnesota in a game pitting divisional leaders. 10-4 Browns, 8-6 Vikings. Brian Sipe to Calvin Hill, 18-yard touchdown pass, a 7-0 lead. Houston over Green Bay, 6-zip. Houston chasing Cleveland, a game behind them. Earl Campbell, a 1-yard touchdown run in that game, but they missed the point after. Bradshaw to Swan from 9 yards out in Pittsburgh, battling to stay alive at 8-6, hoping for a wild card, but they need help all around the league. They have a 7-0 lead at home against Kansas City. Vegas Ferguson, who has done yeoman duty in this first quarter, carries on 2nd and 10, and Jim Haslett drives him out of bounds. Atlanta playing at home, and will they ever lose? Bartkowski with a 1-yard touchdown run and a 7-0 lead. New Orleans, will they ever win? 0-14, but 7-0 over the Jets. Don't get excited yet, Saints fans. Last week against San Francisco, they led 35-7. They lost in overtime. 3 wide receivers, Morgan, Jackson, and Westbrook. 3rd and 7 from the 41-yard line. Ferguson, the report on him, sprained left ankle. He heads for the Buffalo locker room. Cavanaugh from out of the shotgun. Dropping deep, swinging one out. Russ Francis has the catch and a first down. Into Buffalo territory before Isaiah Robertson stops it.
Again, Bob, the key, I think, so far is the fact that Buffalo is not rushing more than their 3 down linemen. They're going to be content to sit back and try to cover. They don't want to give up anything cheap. Cavanaugh has plenty of time to throw, therefore his receivers can develop their routes. Russ Francis coming across underneath the coverage. He's so big that he can shield those guys away from the passes. Don Shula, after last week's game, said he's the best tight end in football.
For Francis, his 36th catch of the season. He goes out. Don Hasselbeck comes in. Fake to Calhoun. Give it to Ferguson again. Battles for about 3 to the 45-yard line. Jim Haslett tripped him up, number 55. Once again, here are the playoff possibilities, roughly, for New England. They beat Buffalo and also win next week against New Orleans, and the Bills are beaten by San Francisco. The title belongs to the Patriots. If Buffalo wins today, they have clinched the title and virtually eliminated New England. If New England wins today and they both win next week, Buffalo gets the division, but New England, depending upon what other contenders do, could still get a wild card spot. But they almost have to win both of their remaining games. Stanley Morgan, the intended receiver, and Gene, I'm not so sure that play came off as they had hoped.
Not exactly, but it's an indication of what they're trying to do. First of all, they fake the reverse to Morgan. They want to go with screens. We mentioned before that they want to go with some screens. They fake the reverse. Cavanaugh's faking it to him now. Comes back to the side. Now they're trying to get the ball over to Morgan, where he can utilize his speed. We can't see it on the screen, but he had 3 blockers in front of him. The problem is that Cavanaugh didn't put that ball directly there. He laid it up a little bit, and it's windy down on the field, and that wind can carry that ball away, as it did just then.
Ron Earhart lived through a heartbreaker at the Orange Bowl on Monday night. Out of the shotgun and with 3 wide receivers in. Also look for Andy Johnson, number 32. He swings out of the backfield. He's their 3rd down specialist. Cavanaugh tucks it in and runs. Cavanaugh has a first down. Matt Cavanaugh down the sideline, gets out of bounds, avoids the hit, and the Patriots are still rolling.
Isaiah Robertson is down on the... Is it Isaiah? Someone is down on the field from the Bills. really seemed to be in a lot of pain. But Matt Cavanaugh, again, dropping back to pass, having lots of time to throw the ball, not getting very much pressure. His receivers get downfield. They take the defensive backs, the linebackers with them. So when he breaks the line of scrimmage, there's hardly anyone there to stop him. No one touches him before he gains 20 yards or so.
That's Jeff Nixon, who earlier in the season sat out several weeks with a knee injury. He is hurt again. We'll have a report on him when we come back after this timeout. Jeff Nixon was off to a marvelous start this season, then missed 8 weeks with a knee injury, just recently reactivated, goes hobbling off after this last play. Let's look at it again.
As I mentioned before, Buffalo wants to avoid a cheap touchdown from New England on reverses, screens, and all that sort of thing. As a result, they're playing conservative in their defense. The receivers have taken all of the linebackers and defensive backs down the field. Cavanaugh breaks that line of scrimmage. He runs down 25 yards or so, and there's no one to touch him. It may backfire. The theory or the defense that the Bills are using so far, being conservative, may backfire on situations just like this.
Buffalo leads the entire NFL in team defense when it comes to fewest yards allowed. However, New England has moved the ball well on them in this first quarter. They lead it 7-0. 1st and 10 from the 23 of Buffalo. A collision between Cavanaugh and Ferguson gets 2 yards at most before going down. This telecast is presented by authority of the NFL. It's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the expressed written consent of the New England Patriots and the National Football League is prohibited. 2nd down and 8 from the 21-yard line. Clock moving. 2.5 minutes to play. Bob Costas with Gene Washington at Schaefer Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Game time temperature 33 degrees, but the wind chill, they tell us, -10.
I was on the field before the game, and it's very cold, and that wind can have a tremendous effect on some of these passes if they get up a little too high.
Cavanaugh on 2nd down. It goes off the hand of Russ Francis and falls incomplete despite a diving attempt by Jim Haslett for the interception.
When Cavanaugh threw that ball, Russ Francis was not expecting. He was just crossing the face of Isaiah Robertson. Let's take a look from the end zone angle. Francis is surprised by this ball. He's not ready for it just yet. Isaiah is right there in good position. And one thing about Buffalo, when you get down on their 20-yard line or so, they have stiffened up very well. They play a lot like Denver did when they went to the Super Bowl. They bend, but they don't break.
Again, the shotgun. 3 wide receivers in. The Patriots have converted 3 of 3 third down situations in the first quarter. Cavanaugh is under pressure. He's rolling right. He is in big trouble. He is out of bounds.
The difference that time, Bob, is that Buffalo changed up their coverage. Instead of just rushing the 3-down lineman, I think they brought Lucius Sanford. We might see him come in on this, put a little more pressure on the quarterback, don't allow him the time to throw the ball. We see Sanford chasing him. Now they're getting that kind of defense that they need so that they can't allow the quarterback to take off and run for 20 yards or so. And I think we may continue to see them do this. They may start to bring the linebackers a little bit more.
So now in comes John Smith. Smith for the season has hit 24 of 31 field goal attempts between 40 and 49 yards. He's 3 of 6. This one is a 40-yarder. Cavanaugh for the hole at the 30. Smith with the kick. Long enough, but wide to the left and no good. John Smith is the NFL's active career leader. All active kickers. Among those with 100 or more field goals in their career, Smith is the accuracy leader, hitting almost 69%, but he misses this one wide to the left.
I think by his expression, we'll be able to tell. We already know he missed it, but he's going to let everyone know. He's trying to give a little body English. Didn't work.
I imagine that doesn't hurt nearly as much as the one that Bob Baumhauer blocked on the last play of regulation Monday night at the Orange Bowl. What a difference that would make. Had that kick gone through the uprights, the whole playoff situation would be different for the Patriots. So Buffalo dodges a bullet. We have 2 reserve quarterbacks in. Minucci, however, by far the least experienced of the 2, and Minucci experiences a sack. Coming in on him, Ray Sugar Bear Hamilton to dump him. That's the 2nd time a Buffalo quarterback has been sacked today. The first time, they not only got Ferguson for the loss, but knocked him out of the game with the injured ankle.
Bob, I can sense that New England is really fired up. It's a feeling that you have. It's very difficult to describe. But when they get things going like they have going for them now, they get the breaks, the quarterback for the other team goes out, they get more enthusiastic, and that's the result of what happens.
So Minucci against Kavanaugh. With Grogan and Ferguson sidelined. They lost 11 on the sack. 2nd and 21. They call on Curtis Brown, and Brown lowers his head and pulls out near the 20-yard line. Tony McGee, number 78, makes the stop.
Well, Bob,
next Saturday, start your day with NFL 80 and host Bryant Gumbel, bringing you all the inside news on the climactic final weekend of the regular season, plus a special feature on the sounds of football. Then stay tuned for a unique treatment of the game between the Jets and the Miami Dolphins from the Orange Bowl. I guess you and I will not be called upon to broadcast that particular game. Immediately following, it's college basketball as the Indiana Hoosiers meet the North Carolina Tar Heels, all here on NBC Sports. We will use announcers for the basketball game. Minucci to the sideline, and the catch is made by Roland Hooks. And Hooks has a first down for Buffalo before being shoved out.
It's an excellent throw and an even better catch on the part of Roland Hooks. He caught that ball, and he had to be like one of the best catchers in baseball, because someone on the New England Pats took a swipe at that ball there. As a receiver, that's a very disconcerting thing to have happen. You have your eyes on that football and somebody weighs in front of it, and to be able to catch that ball in that situation, especially for a running back, is a tremendous job.
Hooks to the sideline after making the catch. The 6th-year man out of North Carolina State. Brown and Cribbs are now the running backs. Butler and Lewis the wide receivers. 43 seconds to play first quarter, trailing 7-0 from their own 41. They give it to Brown, and Brown gets one grudging yard at most before Mike Hawkins stops him, number 59.
One thing, if you look at a Chuck Knox football team, when he was out in Los Angeles and had the Rams, I think he was there 5 years, and I was in San Francisco. We just couldn't beat those guys. I think we might have beaten them once, but his teams can be characterized as being consistent football teams. They're in a situation now where their starting quarterback is out, but I think that you will continue to see the consistent play, particularly in that offensive line. They don't do a lot of fancy things. They don't get a lot of yards per carry, but when the game ends, they end up with lots of yards and lots of time of possession on offense.
The gun goes off, and that is the end of the first quarter. When we come back, Buffalo ball from their 42, 2nd and 9 after 15 minutes, 7-zip Patriots. Joe Ferguson is back, Gene, but obviously hobbling around.
I don't think there's any chance that he's going to come back and play. His ankle has hurt so much that I don't think he could be effective at all. I think what he has to hope for is that they're going to win today. He can get his treatment during the week and come back next week to play.
Patriots dominating most of the first quarter stats, and on the scoreboard they lead 7-0. The burden on the youngster Dan Minucci. A flag is down as he swings it out to Joe Cribbs, and it falls incomplete.
Thrown in the area where it's usually holding against the offensive line.
Cribbs came into today's game with 1,000 yards rushing, 38 receptions on the season, 2nd-round pick out of Auburn, and a lot of people are now wondering, how did he last as long as he did in the draft?
Well, sometimes you get a guy who plays better once he gets into a situation where he's playing with better athletes. The guy is a tremendous athlete, no question about that.
9, offense, 2nd down.
Conrad Dobler holding on the play, and Ferguson is going off again. He was already to the locker room once, came back out, apparently to try and convince the coaches that he was ready to give it a go, but they weren't buying that.
I think he's going in to take a shower and get warm, because there's no chance that he's going to play anymore today.
You know who Cribbs reminds me of a little bit? Terry Metcalf, in terms of the things he can do. The way he carries the ball, a pass receiver, and also can run back kicks and punts. They're similar in size as well. Minucci dropping back on 2nd and 19. This is Cribbs, who gathers it in, moves across the 35 to the 36-yard line. Bob Golick and Steve Nelson, pair of linebackers, combined to stop him.
Another interesting statistic about Joe Cribbs is that his longest run from scrimmage, I believe, is 21 yards. And a guy that has 1,000 yards, you would think would have broken one for 45 or 60 or so. But I think that's sort of indicative of the style of football that Chuck Knox plays, which is possession football, and that's the way everything is designed. We may not get big gainers, but we're going to get a lot of small ones.
Cribbs has scored 12 touchdowns this year, 2nd in the entire league behind another rookie, Billy Sims of Detroit. The Lion Prize has 14 scores. 3rd and 15 from the 36. with Hooks and Cribbs as the backs. Minucci steps up and throws, and his bullet is gathered in by Jerry Butler. Butler running laterally may not have the first down. I don't know if he realized, Gene, where the stick was. They got 14 yards on the play, and if Butler had simply lunged forward and gone down after catching it, he would have had what he needed, but he ran laterally and comes up short by a yard.
He's a tremendous athlete. He gets into the middle, and watch how he jumps to catch this ball. A lot of people at home may wonder, why does the receiver jump when he only has to put his hands up? You do this because when you catch that ball, and if someone's there and hits you at the same time, you're braced and you can hold on to it. I think you had it right. He didn't know exactly where the stick was. Otherwise, he would have turned up and gotten the first down right away. But I think he had a chance, or he felt he had a chance, to come across field and break it for a longer gainer.
But this has been a demolition derby so far. That's Julius Adams, who is down on the field. We'll come back with the Bills preparing to punt after this. Julius Adams went off under his own power, apparently just shaken up on the play. And now with 4th and 1 and the ball at midfield and 13 minutes and 44 seconds to play in the first half, Greg Cater is in and Roland James is back to field his punt. Cater kicked one 42 yards the first time he booted. The last one went off the side of his foot, and he was lucky to get 27 yards out of it with the roll. James standing at his own 10-yard line. They've only got 3 seconds to snap this. Maybe they want to take the penalty to give him more room to go for the coffin corner.
I don't think it was intentional.
It's going to cost them 5 either way.
They were trying to change things around a bit, trying to kick the ball away to get it to the farther side of the field over there. They didn't want to take that penalty. It's just worked out that way. It's another example of what I've talked about before.
Offense, 4th down.
Maybe they're trying too hard to have their concentration go the right way, and it just seems to be having the opposite effect.
Cater came into the game averaging 38.5. 14 of his kicks have gone for touchbacks. He's put 12 inside the 20. That's what he's aiming to do right now, but it's going to come up way short of that. It's fielded by Roland James. James trying to come left, reverses his field, and down he goes at the 20-yard line. A 36-yard kick by Cater. No return from James. 13:33 on the clock at Schaefer Stadium. Patriots with the 7-0 lead and the ball back at their 20. Okay, thanks, Bryant. Patriots preparing to put it in play. Matt Cavanaugh is 3 of 6 so far for 37 yards. In Stanley Morgan and Harold Jackson, he has 2 great wide receivers. They don't rank that high in the NFL in total catches, but they are 1-2, Morgan first and Jackson second, in average yards per catch, both averaging better than 20 yards per reception. They keep it on the ground with Vegas Ferguson, who has been carrying the load for them in this first half, picking up 4 yards out to the 24. Gene, we mentioned Morgan and Jackson. When these teams met in Buffalo in October, the Bills' defense held each to just 1 catch.
Well, I think the significant thing about what's happened with Stanley Morgan and Harold Jackson is that you have 2 of the fastest, truly the fastest wide receivers in football. And for the last 4 or 5 weeks, these guys have really not been utilized. That's something I'd like to come back to a little later.
Jackson goes to the sidelines. 2 tight ends in. Hasselbeck joining Francis. Hasselbeck good enough to start for most clubs. Mosi Tatupu, who wears number 30, has replaced Don Calhoun, but it's Vegas Ferguson again who carries across the 30-yard line for the first down before Jim Haslett makes the tackle. 12:40 to play, second quarter, and Cavanaugh has moved the Patriots well in the first half.
First down for the Patriots.
Let's take a look. Fred Smerlis, the center of that Buffalo Bill defense, really gets a shot this time and gets neutralized. The result is that the Pats come up with a good gain. And you mentioned that number 30, Tatupu, was in there, and they put him in for his good blocking ability, and he went in there and did a job that time.
Interior line play thus far has been a reversal from the meeting in Buffalo. The Patriots have sacked Buffalo quarterbacks twice. They never got to Ferguson when they played in October. And here is Tatupu carrying. Outside, straight arming his man, Charles Romes. There's a flag down on the play as he moves across the 35. Now let's see who they call this against. Isaiah Robertson pleading his case. Chuck Knox also unhappy. That indicates it's against Buffalo. Face mask, as I thought.
Knox is obviously upset. I think what he's saying is that one of the linemen for the Pats was holding one of his defensive players. He's
Personal
usually a cool.
foul, face mask, 26, defense, first down.
Charles Romes not only took a straight arm from Tatupu and was rolled over, but he gets hit with a penalty. I like that little act by Knox. That was very theatrical.
You know, what happens in that situation, if you're a defensive back, running back comes out there and straight arms you, you're trying to grab him, you grab the first thing you can. Unfortunately, it was a face mask, but you can't blame Rome.
They get a first down at the 41, and Ferguson gets a couple of yards before being stopped. In addition, we were talking about the interior line play before. In addition to their work defensively, getting 2 sacks, the offensive line of the Patriots obviously is springing their running game much better than they did in Buffalo a couple of months ago, when they gained only 39 yards on the ground for the entire game. In this first half alone, Ferguson has carried 10 times for 47.
Well, there's one person on that offensive line, number 74 for the Pats, Shelby Jordan, who is just having a great year, the most improved offensive lineman from last season, and largely responsible for their success out there today, and a guy who may be in the Pro Bowl this year, too.
They're going to run Ferguson here till he drops. That's his 11th carry, and it will leave them with 3rd down and 3.
This gives us a chance to get back to this issue of Harold Jackson and Stanley Morgan, 2 guys who've been tremendous wide receivers and have been, in my opinion, underutilized in the last 3 or 4 weeks. But I think there's a very good reason for it. When their quarterback went down with the injury, came in with a new quarterback, Kavanaugh came in, he wasn't able to get the ball to these guys the way they had been in the past. Therefore, they tried to be more conservative and run the ball more.
There's Francis in motion. Rufus Bess is in as the nickelback for Buffalo now that Jeff Nixon has been hurt. Kavanaugh throws on 3rd down, and it's intercepted. Bill Simpson picks it off. Simpson is back to midfield for Buffalo. The Bills are now +6 for the season on the giveaway takeaway table. The Patriots are -3, a 13-yard return after the interception by Simpson.
I saw Bill Simpson do this too many times out in Los Angeles when he was playing against my team, San Francisco. This guy reads very well. It looks like the pass was thrown to him because he reads that quarterback so well. He doesn't have the speed that he once had, but he still has great anticipation, a great athlete, and this is a result of tremendous play on the part of Bill Simpson.
Jackson was the intended receiver. It never got there. Buffalo has a chance to get back in it. For Simpson, that was his 4th interception of the year, and the 23rd pass the Bills have picked off as a team this season. From midfield, Dan Minucci, who has hit 3 of 3 for 40 yards in relief of the injured Joe Ferguson, goes back to work. His club trails at 7-0, 10:38 to play second quarter. Sunny but very cold Schaefer Stadium in Foxborough. Curtis Brown grinding out some yardage before Rod Schote makes the tackle. He got about 7 on the play. 2nd and 3 coming up. Cleveland with a 7-0 lead. That's now in the second quarter at Minnesota. Houston into the second quarter with Green Bay and a 6-0 lead on the floundering Packers. Pittsburgh, a glimmer of a chance remains for Chuck Noll's club, 7-0 over Kansas City. Cardinals and Philly scoreless at Veterans Stadium. Second and 3 yards to go. Joe Cribbs trying to sweep. Blockers in front of him. But nothing. They lose yardage on the play. Conrad Dobler got out in front of him, but Steve Nelson broke it down and made the tackle.
This New England defense continues to play enthusiastic football. Steve Nelson, number 57, continued to lead the way. And that's one of the things about a 3-4 defense. It's very difficult to run wide against a 3-4 because that's why they have 4 linebackers back there, guys that have good agility, and they want to be able to take away any pursuit angles. And they've done it very well, and they're doing a tremendous job today. This New England ball club is very fired up, and you can feel it up here in the booth.
They set up shotgun on 3rd and 4. Actually, it's closer to 5 yards to go. Minucci scrambling right. Got to get to the 40. He's there and then some. Across the 30-yard line and out of bounds. A first down for Buffalo.
The thing about that, it looks like it's like deja vu. I think we've seen that before, except it was the other team carrying the ball. We see the rush. He's dropping back. He gets a good rush. He gets outside, and I tell you, he has good speed. He looks like a halfback running down the sideline.
17-yard pickup and a Buffalo first down.
But you can tell he's a quarterback. He's smart enough to run out of bounds before he gets hit.
9:07 remaining. What an opportunity for Minucci. With Ferguson injured, he could be at the helm in a division-clinching game for the Bills. A win today, and the title is theirs in the AFC East. Fake to Cribbs, off play action. Minucci is in trouble. There's the third New England sack of the day. And for the season, the Patriots now have 38 sacks. Julius Adams, who was shaken up earlier but has returned to the Patriot lineup, brought him down for the big loss. And let's look at it again.
Julius Adams leads the club in sacks. He gets a little help from Rod Schott on the outside. They're blitzing the outside backer coming from that short side, the blind side of the quarterback. They put tremendous pressure, get them back for a nice loss, move them further back from that end zone.
Ball back near the 39-yard line, loss of 11, 2nd and 21 coming up, clock moving, 8:45 to play second quarter. The Patriots on the Vegas-Ferguson touchdown run lead it 7-0. Butler and Lewis are the wide receivers. Cribbs trying to sweep, might throw off of it. Dipsy-do comes back to Minucci. Now this is a lateral. Minucci has to pick it up, and he falls down near the 50, then loses the football, but it goes out of bounds. So it still belongs to Buffalo. Minucci had the presence of mind, at least, to pursue the ball because it was a lateral after Cribbs threw it backwards.
He sure did. But this is something you might expect to see from the Pats, not from Buffalo, who's been playing fairly conservative football, to pull one out like this. If it had worked, it would have been a great call.
Let's tell you something I'd expect to see from the Bad News Bears, considering the way it came off.
The guy who was responsible for that play not working was 85, Julius Adams. He hustled all the way over there and put his hands up in front of Joe Cribbs, who may be giving away about 6 inches in height, and now he knows what it's like to be a quarterback, to throw that ball with a big defensive lineman barreling down on you.
Third and a long city block for the first down as we look at Julius Adams. Out of the shotgun, they need 28 yards. Minucci cranks it up, throws it incomplete, and a good Buffalo opportunity has gone by the boards, and Greg Cater will punt for the 4th time in this first half.
New England came with their 4-man rush, didn't give Minucci long to throw the ball, tried to get it to Hooks, but had it too far out in front. Roland Hooks had no chance to catch it.
Roland James again retreats to his own 10-yard line. Greg Cater, rookie out of Tennessee Chattanooga, to kick. 10th round draft choice this year. Replaced Rusty Jackson this season as the Buffalo punter. It's off a highway. And into the end zone it goes for the touchback. It's a 45-yard punt for the touchback. They'll bring it out to the 20-yard line. We have 8 minutes and 13 seconds to play second quarter. Patriots with the ball, and they still have the skies over Schaefer Stadium, but it's awfully cold. The wind chill down below zero. A moment ago, the fans here were up on their feet and cheering as Stanley Morgan and Harold Jackson led the cheers, exhorting the crowd to get behind the Patriots. Jackson has been an inspirational force on this New England club. In his 13th year out of Jackson State, despite his diminutive size, 5'10 and 175, he has never missed an NFL game, playing in his 175th in a row this afternoon. Ferguson trying to come outside. Vegas-Ferguson stutter-stepping for a gain of 3 to the 23. Jim Haslett, the tackler.
New England went with a 2 tight end offense that time, bringing Stanley Morgan out. Let's take a look. Haslett flowing down the line of scrimmage. Look at the speed. He has tremendous speed for a linebacker. All linebackers in a 3-4 should have good quickness, but he has exceptional speed, and we got a good shot of it there as he accelerated and made the tackle.
Kavanaugh breaks the huddle with Morgan coming wide right and Jackson wide to the left. Morgan has caught 6 touchdown passes this year, but 5 of them came in the Pats' first 4 games. He's had only 1 scoring catch in the last 10. Ferguson again. Ferguson out across the 25, leaving them with 3rd down and about 4 as we pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
WBAL-TV, Channel 11 in Baltimore.
Bob Costas and Gene Washington in Foxborough, Massachusetts. New England up over Buffalo in a do-or-die situation for the Pats. 7-0. Matt Kavanaugh has been the New England quarterback from the outset. A week ago, he also played, actually Monday night, against Miami, completing 12 of 16 in relief of the injured Steve Grogan, who's bothered by a knee problem. Joe Ferguson, the Buffalo starter, hurt his ankle early in the game. Dan Minucci has replaced him. Cavanaugh's pass juggled and then caught by Russ Francis for a first down at the 35.
Russ Francis, a very big target, utilizes that great size. He's a savvy guy. You look at the move. He's trying to get away. He breaks clear, takes his eye off the ball just a little bit, but has time to reach back and get it. When you have two wide receivers on the outside with the speed that they have, this enables Francis to maneuver in that middle. So if the defensive club wants to try to double both guys on the outside, that leaves it wide open for Russ Francis in the middle, and we may see them going to him more in the middle because they have such speed on the outside.
1st and 10 from the 35 with 6:40 left. Don Calhoun, his first carry of the day, 4 yards to the 39-yard line. Bill Simpson, who made the interception earlier, is in on the tackle. Lucius Sanford there as well.
I love it when he runs with the football. The first time I was here and he ran with the ball, he had a positive gain, and I thought the fans were booing, but what they're saying is, hoo, hoo, hoo. It's great.
Longtime backup to Sam Bam Cunningham, and Cunningham not signed this season after a contract dispute. Calhoun gets a chance to start. Hasselbeck and Francis are both in, both on the right side, and a 2 tight end set. 2nd and 6. Cavanaugh fakes, then swings outside. Stanley Morgan. Morgan driven out of bounds near the 45-yard line, close to a first down. That's a play they frequently use, trying to get Morgan, the speedster, a little bit of room to run.
Well, he certainly has the speed to break it from any place on the field, but this is the kind of play that the Bills are looking for. As soon as it was there, they had people flowing. They get a gain, they get the first down, but they don't get the big gain that they were looking for.
Thursday at 8 Eastern Time, games people play with the finals of the 3-ton tug of war, where you'll see the New Orleans Firemen battle the Steelworkers from Pittsburgh. Then a fun look at the world's shortest pro basketball team, led by Billy Barty, and an inspiring visit with marathoner Peter Stredwick, plus much, much more on Games People Play, Thursday at 8 Eastern Time on NBC. Cavanaugh's 5 of 9 for 52 yards so far in the first half. 5:50 to play until halftime. Ferguson in trouble. Turns it into a good game. Across midfield to the 48. He made 7 yards almost entirely on his own.
He had John Hanna out in front, but Hanna was tripped up, fell down. Ferguson just stepped over him, got a positive gain on his own. Let's take a look from the end zone. The linebackers are converging. They're getting their good direction. They're flowing well. But Ferguson, he mentioned before, he has a good ability to cut back. He has good leg strength, and he knows how to get positive yardage. When he sees an opening, he goes right for it, and he takes that positive gain right away.
14 carries for 63 yards for Vegas Ferguson, and they call his number again. He is close to a first down near the 45-yard line of Buffalo. Might be close enough to measure. The officials are calling timeout. Fred Smerlas, the nose tackle, tripped him up.
Whenever you see a running back getting gains like that, where he gets the football, no one touches him before he's 2 yards or so beyond the line of scrimmage, that means you're getting a tremendous effort from that offensive line. Sam Adams, Shelby Jordan, John Hanna, Dwight Wheeler, all these guys are doing a tremendous job. You can look at the expression on Knox's face. He's not very happy about the result so far.
Ferguson gets a brief rest. Horace Ivory comes in to replace him. Ferguson has had 1 game of 100 yards this year. He had exactly 100 3 weeks ago against the Colts. He came into this game with 655 for the season, averaging 3.7 per carry. Might be on his way to a 100-yard day today. Horace Ivory carries, and the 4th-year man from Oklahoma gets 2, maybe 3 on first down. The clock moving, 4 minutes and 20 seconds to play, second quarter. And the Patriots, who scored on their first drive after they took over on the 40-yard line of Buffalo, the Bills had to punt from out of their own end zone after the game's first possession, still have that 7-0 lead.
The Patriots have the lead, but they may be doing something. They may be making a mistake in my mind. It looks as though they're willing to sit on this lead. They're the kind of ball club that can explode. They can get a 21-point lead, not a 7-point lead, but they're going with a 2 tight end offense, and it looks like they're willing to sit on it.
Cavanaugh swings it out to Horace Ivory. Ivory has another first down. inside the 35-yard line. Steve Freeman, the strong safety, on the tackle.
As soon as I say they're going to sit on their lead, they put the ball in the air. Let's take a look at the replay. He's dropping back. He continues to get lots of time to throw the ball. Ivory comes underneath the coverage. The linebackers in their deep drops. Turns upfield, gets a nice gain. Let's see what they do from this point on. This is a good place to continue to throw the ball because the end zone is not working against you. Your receivers have time or an area to run. When you get closer down there, those defensive backs will use that end zone as a help to them because they know the guy can't go too far deep.
Calhoun barely back to the line of scrimmage, if that. Nothing but white shirts around him as the Bills converge on the play, led by Jim Haslett. Patriots 8-6 overall. Here at Schaefer Stadium, 5-2. Away from home, 3-3. Patriots may be looking at it this way, Gene. The weather conditions will not get much better. It looks like a pretty day. It is a pretty day, but it's not that comfortable. It's very cold and it's windy. Dan Minucci, for all practical purposes a rookie, is in at quarterback in place of the injured Joe Ferguson. They go up by a couple of touchdowns by halftime. They're in good shape. Kavanaugh, a wobbler. Francis almost held on, but couldn't.
Francis almost came up with it, even though he had to come back 3 or 4 yards to try to make the catch. I'm not exactly sure why that ball came out of there looking like a dead duck. Maybe it slipped. It's cold down there, and sometimes it's tough to get a grip on the ball, even for the quarterback. Francis almost makes a super catch, just can't quite make it.
So it's going to be 3rd and 10 from just outside the 32-yard line. There's Harold Jackson alongside Francis. Jackson for the season has caught 32 passes, but only 9 of those receptions have come during the last 7 weeks. So Jackson and Morgan have not been quite as potent the past couple of months as they were during the first half of the season. Kavanaugh from the shotgun. They need 10 yards. He scrambled for a first down earlier. He tucks this one in and goes out of bounds, and they are way short of what they need. Ben Williams was chasing him.
By number 26, Charles.
Williams is Buffalo's best pass rusher, leading them in sacks.
Let's take a look at the pressure. Number 77, Ben Williams, is coming in there. He has put tremendous pressure on the quarterback, but you also saw a shot of 83, Sherman White, and he's a guy that forces the quarterback to come out of the pocket. It's kind of interesting. Matt's trying to fake that guy out. He's like he still has a chance to throw the ball, but he knows he's not going to throw it. And the best thing to do is to get out of bounds and try to get out before someone hurts you.
4th and 8 from the 30, and they will go for it. It would be a 47-yard attempt if they had gone for the John Smith field goal. The longest he has ever kicked was 49. Instead, they go for the first. They need 8 yards. Kavanaugh has those 8 yards. Russ Francis, 10, 5-yard line, 1st and goal. A daring maneuver by Ron Earhart. A 25-yard pickup.
Tackle on the play by Steve Freeman. 2 minutes left to play in the first half of play here at Schaefer Stadium. The score, the New England Patriots 7, Buffalo Bills nothing.
Let's take a look at the replay. The reason that Russ Francis is able to get open is that the Buffalo defense has double covered both guys on the outside. Therefore, the only people that can cover Russ Francis are the linebackers, Lucius Sanford and Shane Nelson. They just can't stay up with him.
We have reached the 2-minute warning. The Patriots lead 7-0, and they're knocking on the door. 1st and goal. The Patriots and Coach Ron Earhart have been stung in recent weeks by press criticism in the Boston area. One writer called them a group of losers. Another has criticized Earhart for being too conservative. They weren't conservative that time, going for it on 4th and 8, and they look like anything but losers against their top competition in the AFC East so far today. And Cleveland looking to take control in the Central against the NFC Central leader, Minnesota, 13-0 in the 2nd quarter. Brian Sipe has thrown for a touchdown and run for another. A Jan Stenerud field goal has closed the gap between the Packers and the Oilers. 2 minutes to play, first half. 3 tight end attack. Calhoun carries, and he is belted at the line of scrimmage and gets nothing. Shane Nelson coming up from the inside linebacker spot.
The Bills stuffed them. When they get down there, they get very tough. It's going to be interesting, though, to see what they do. whether the Pats keep the ball on the ground and go for the field goal, or whether they take a couple of shots and throw the ball into the end zone. I think they should put the ball in the air because I think they need to have a commanding lead going into half other than just a 10-point lead.
3 tight ends with Bill Lenkaitis back in at center. Pete Brock, normally a center, playing in the slot as a tight end with Francis and Hasselbeck. The running backs are Ferguson and Mosi Tatupu. Fake to Tatupu. Kavanaugh will throw. Lobbing to the end zone. Touchdown, Russ Francis. He beat Charles Romes and beat him big.
What happened is that they faked the run. Francis blocked down, then released and came all the way across field. Utilized his height and his speed. Let's take a look. Francis got good move. You see that fake to his right, comes back across to his left, beats Charles Romes by 2 or 3 yards, wide open. Looks like they do it every week. Made it look easy, doesn't he?
7th touchdown reception of the season for Russ Francis. Kavanaugh will hold. Smith, who hasn't missed a point after try all season, will try and make it 45 in a row this year. Perfect. A minute and 15 seconds to play in the first half, and the Patriots are very much alive in the AFC East. The preceding announcement was furnished as a public service by the National Football League. The touchdown toss was the 5th of the season for Matt Kavanaugh. Kubac will kick it off. Because of the wind, they had to hold it for him. They kick it short, taken by one of the up men out across the 25-yard line, and the Patriots are down quickly on the coverage. The tackle is made by reserve linebacker Bill Matthews, number 53. The ball was returned by Chris Keating, one of Buffalo's backup linebackers, number 52. So they took no chances, didn't want Hooks or Brown to handle the ball. Manucci is 3 of 4 since Ferguson went out with the injured ankle. 40 yards net passing. He's also been sacked a couple of times. On another occasion, he took off for a first down run. Curtis Brown carries.
Curtis Brown gets the call.
He's out to the 30-yard line. 2nd down and 7 coming up with exactly a minute to play until halftime, and Buffalo apparently not very interested in stopping the clock, although they do have all 3 of their timeouts remaining. It took the Patriots 15 plays to go 80 yards. They kept the ball almost 7 minutes before Kavanaugh hit Francis in the end zone.
I think what Buffalo wants to do is to go into the locker room. I think they may have to redesign their game plan somewhat, except for a play like this.
Here's Joe Cribbs. Cribbs rambling into New England territory. Did the fumble come after the whistle? No. The Patriots have the ball. Rod Schote makes the fumble recovery, number 56.
Mentioned at the top of the game, the breaks seem to be going towards New England, just the opposite of what happened in their first meeting. This is the perfect example. Cribbs breaks loose, they get into position. Let's take a look at the replay. They're just trying to hold the ball, go in, regroup, breaks loose, gets a good gainer, and what happens? Gets down and he fumbles the ball, lose their chance for a field goal, won't get any points now.
Rick Sanford's hit caused the fumble. Joe Cribbs took off on his longest run from scrimmage of the season, but it ends with a fumble recovered by Rod Schote. Now Kavanaugh looking to pad the New England advantage out of the shotgun on first down, goes down. Credit that sack to Ben Williams.
Joe Cribbs, if I'm correct, fumbled the ball 3 times last week. Fumbled again today. Maybe that's an indication that he might be doing too much. Lots of passes, has run the ball very well, but this is a long season for a rookie who's used to playing 11 games. Now he's playing 20 games.
Now the Patriots are not interested in stopping the clock. They too have 3 timeouts, so Joe Cribbs can breathe a sigh of relief. His fumble did no harm. The clock will run out, and the Patriots are content to take a 14-0 lead into the locker room. The first time the Patriots got the ball, they had it at the 40-yard line of Buffalo. The opening kickoff had bounced over the head of Curtis Brown and gone out of bounds at the 2. They punted from out of their own end zone. Pats got good field position, went 40, scored on the Vegas-Ferguson run. Late in the half, they go 80 yards. Kavanaugh to Francis. That's where it is, 14-0, end of the first half. Halftime at chilly Schaefer Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. Bob Costas, along with Gene Washington, and the Patriots battling for their lives in the AFC East, lead it by a score of 14-0. If they can win today, and if they can win next week against New Orleans, and Buffalo is upset by San Francisco, the title will belong to the Patriots in the AFC East. Let's go to New York. Here's Bryant Gumbel.
I'd like to welcome all of you back to our NFL 80 studios in New York. We're at Sunday number 15 of this NFL season, trying to get you caught up on just what is happening around the league and how it affects the playoff possibilities. Buffalo against New England. Well, the Bills beat the Pats in an earlier meeting under winter conditions at Rich Stadium in Buffalo. Today they've turned it around playing at Schaefer Stadium in Foxborough, and the Patriots have jumped out to a 14-0 lead. That ball game at the half, Joe Ferguson forced to the sidelines with an injury we now learn to his ankle, as New England got on the board first before Joe Ferguson was hurt. This is Vegas Ferguson of the Patriots going in from 9 yards out, 7-0 New England. Dan Minucci is the man who came in at the controls for the Buffalo Bills, but this is the kind of day it's been. Laterals to Cribbs, who tries to throw it back to Minucci, who chases it down, then winds up scrambling for yardage on his knee. Not the best of days for the Buffalo offense. Matt Cavanaugh in charge of the New England offense, operating from the shotgun here. 25-yard completion to Russ Francis. This gets the Pats in scoring position. Worked so well that Cavanaugh went back to the same man, number 81. Touchdown to Francis. Point after has the Patriots out in front of the Bills by a score of 14-0. If the Bills can win this game, they will clinch the title in the AFC East, something they have not done since 1966. In Minnesota, Cleveland against Minnesota. They're the leaders in the NFC and AFC Central. Both teams could clinch their division titles with a victory today, but Cleveland out in front of the Minnesota Vikings at the half by a score of 13-0. Brian Sipe and company looking for their 11th win. Bud Grant and the Vikings looking for their 9th. It was Sipe to Calvin Hill, the old-timer out of Yale, getting the job done for the Browns here. 18-yard touchdown. Point after put the Browns in front by a score of 7-0. Tommy Kramer has been putting the ball in the air an awful lot for the Vikings. Here he completes one, number 28, Ahmad Rashad, good for 19 yards, but the Minnesota drive was stymied down near the goal line. Then Brian Sipe up top one more time to Dave Logan. 41-yard completion. This one gets the Browns in good scoring position. Logan getting good position on the defender, and then Sipe rolling in from touchdown from 2 yards out. Point after was no good. Browns lead the Vikings by a score of 13-0. Again, should either team win that ball game, obviously, whichever team wins that ball game will clinch their Central Division title. Houston against Green Bay. We understand now Houston has just kicked a field goal, gotten a field goal from Chester Markle, who was just signed up this week, now out in front of Green Bay by a score of 9-3 as the first half in that ball game winds down. Houston coming in with a very sound defense, looking for a victory over the Packers. Still, they got some unexpected speed. A long-distance run from Rob Carpenter. Carpenter finding a lot of room down the right sideline, going 46 yards before being pushed out inside the 1 to set up the game's first score at Lambeau Field. Who else do you call when you've got this man in your backfield? Number 34, Earl Campbell, the NFL's leading rusher, making it look easy from a yard out, taking it in. The point after was missed, and it was 6-0. After 6-3, Markle came in. Field goal for Chester Markle, just signed to replace Tony Frisch this week. Houston out in front of Green Bay 9-3 as that ball game nears the half. Kansas City against Pittsburgh, two clubs with very, very dim wild card hopes still alive, meeting at Three River Stadium. Pittsburgh out in front of Kansas City by a score of 7-3. That ball game, of course, at the half. Chuck Noll on the sidelines watching his Steelers today. The motto was one for the thumb. It's been a tough go for the Steelers all year long. Still, they jumped out in front early on. Bradshaw, 9-yard touchdown pass to Lynn Swan, put the Steelers in front by a score of 7-0. But Terry was intercepted by Gary Barbaro, his 9th of the season. That set up a Nick Lowry field goal. Brought the Chiefs back. They're only 3 points of the game. Lowry's field goal of 36 yards has the Chiefs still looking up at a 4-point deficit at the half. St. Louis against Philadelphia. The Eagles looking for their 12th win of the season, having a lot of trouble with the Cardinals at Veterans Stadium. That ball game is scoreless at the half. Atlanta against San Francisco. The Falcons have already clinched a playoff position. If they can win today, they will wrap up the title in the NFC West. They are leading the San Francisco 49ers by a score of 7-0. Steve Bartkowski 1-yard run. The New Orleans Saints, still looking for their first win in this 15th week, are looking up at the Jets right now. Jets out in front by a score of 13-7 at the half. Archie Manning, a 14-yard touchdown pass to Jack Holmes. Kevin Long, a 1-yard run for the Jets. They've also got 2 Pat Leahy field goals, one of 26 yards and one of 47 yards. And Cincinnati out in front of Chicago by a score of 7-0. Last week, you'll remember, the Bears piled up 61 points in the Packers. Well, today they're trailing the Bengals 7-0. Pete Johnson has scored the lone touchdown on a 1-yard run. Later today, we've got a very big ball game coming to you from Mile High Stadium in Denver. There, the Oakland Raiders will try to keep pace with the San Diego Chargers as they go against the Denver Broncos. For a preview of that game, we get a report from our John Brody.
In Denver's Mile High Stadium, the biggest game of the afternoon, the Denver Broncos and the Oakland Raiders. For Oakland, it means a chance to go on into the playoffs. For Denver, a chance to recuperate a little of their lost pride. I've got with me a man that has been a very instrumental part of the Oakland Raiders throughout the past 8 weeks. When their offense has been a little sporadic, their defense has held them together. Cedric Hardman, a man who was on championship teams early, has come on to find new life with the Oakland Raiders. Cedric, what's going on with your defense?
Our defense is really playing well, John. We have a coordinator by the name of Charlie Sumner and an outside linebacker by the name of Ted Hendricks that just really put things together. Charlie has designed the defense where Ted is our Mr. Everything, and he's just roaming all over the field. He's helping us in the pass rush, and he's playing good pass defense, and so consequently, that's just about sums it up right there.
Why? What has Charlie Sumner done?
Charlie's kept the defense, which could be very complicated, and he's made it real simple, and we're running in a lot of people in different situations, and he's got a pass rushing group, and he's got a group that plays against the run, and everybody just sort of coordinated real well together.
Well, you heard it from Cedric Hardman. We'll see him out on the field throughout the afternoon. We're all getting a little excited up here in Denver's Mile High Stadium. The air is thin, but I think the adrenaline is getting a little thinner.
All right, thank you, John Brody. That ball game still to come on this doubleheader day on NBC. It's Oakland against Denver. Also another game has Miami's Dolphins going against the Baltimore Colts. I'd like to remind you about a special coming up Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern Time. It's Bob Hope's Christmas special. Bob will be joined by the Associated Press All-America football team. It was a week ago Monday night that John Lennon was shot down out in front of his home on 72nd and Central Park West. As most of you know, a vigil was called for today. A report from Stephen Frazier of NBC News.
This is the band shell in New York City's Central Park, where admirers of John Lennon gathered for a final tribute to him. They listened to his music for 30 minutes and tried to stay warm in the cold here. Then precisely at 2 o'clock, the music stopped and the crowd grew silent for 10 minutes of silence in his memory. The observance took place within sight of the Dakota, Lennon's home in New York, where his wife and son have remained since his death. Similar gatherings were scheduled around the world with no speeches or eulogies, simply 10 minutes of prayer and silence at the request of Yoko Ono, Lennon's wife.
Welcome back to Foxborough. Bob Costas along with Gene Washington, and we're going to take a look at how New England went out in front 14-0. Vegas Ferguson and Russ Francis have the touchdowns.
Well, they're getting all of the breaks. It's a reversal of their first game. Let's take a look here. This is evidence of what's going on. The Pats are getting the breaks. Ferguson goes through there untouched, unmolested for the first touchdown, and we'll see Francis coming back with their second touchdown. Has a good fake. He just fakes, roams out. He comes out, gives him a little move, and he breaks to his left. He's wide open. There it is. Cavanaugh gets him the ball. He has his man beat by 3 yards. Like I said before, a complete reversal of their first meeting. New England getting all of the breaks in this first half, and the feeling I have up here is that the second half will continue to be the same way.
Meanwhile, New England has to win. these last two games, against Buffalo, the next week against New Orleans, and they need help from other people if they're to win the division or get a wild card spot. As for Buffalo, a win today, if they can come from behind, then the division title is theirs. But it'll be an uphill climb with Minucci in at quarterback. NFL 80 halftime activities continue in a moment, right back after these messages from your local station. Obscured a bit by the coaches, there you see Dan Minucci warming up. This young man will try and lead them back from a 14-0 deficit in the second half. As we take a look at the halftime stats, look at that difference in yards gained and in first downs.
Well, it's a complete reversal of their first meeting. New England has rushed so far for 104 yards in the first half. Buffalo has 54, almost twice as many, and this is not the kind of result you would expect. I don't think that New England has punted at all today.
New England has not had to punt yet. The only time we've seen Mike Hubach has been on kickoffs. Kavanaugh, playing in place of the injured Steve Grogan, has done very, very well. Ron Earhart, knowing that even should his club win today, they need help from somebody. It's difficult to say exactly who. If it's a divisional title that they aspire to, they'll need help next week from San Francisco. If they were to upset the Bills, and if the Patriots won as expected in New Orleans, they would get that divisional title. If Buffalo loses today, they can still wrap up the divisional title by beating San Francisco in the season finale. But New England would have a wild card chance if they beat New Orleans, wound up 10-6, and if some of the other wild card contenders were to stumble. Nick Mickemeyer kicks it off, and New England has possession as Horace Ivory takes it out across the 25-yard line. D. Hardison made the tackle, number 74. Bob Costas with Gene Washington at Schaefer Stadium in Foxborough, Massachusetts. The Patriots 14 and the Bills nothing. First play from scrimmage in the second half. Morgan wide to the left and Jackson wide to the right. Kavanaugh in his third year out of Pittsburgh. Quarterback that national championship team, which featured Tony Dorsett a few years back, gives to Vegas Ferguson, who might be on his way to a 100-yard day. And the rookie from Notre Dame gets maybe 4 yards on the play. We'll call it 2nd down and 6. Lucius Sanford, left outside linebacker, made the stop for Buffalo.
New England, with this 14-point lead, is now in the position to try to play some ball control football. I think the onus is now on Buffalo. They can't afford to let this club go down the field and eat up that clock. They need to get the ball back now, especially with a quarterback who hasn't thrown a pass all season before today.
Hasselbeck and Francis in the two tight end attack, both to the right side. Jackson, the only wide receiver, he goes left. Ferguson lowers his head, carries again on 2nd down. Ordinarily, the Patriots use 7 different running backs during the course of a game. Alan Clark, Horace Ivory, Mosi Tatupu, Andy Johnson, Chuck Foreman, all see action, as well as the starters, Ferguson and Calhoun. Now, we have seen Ivory, and we have seen Tatupu, and occasionally Johnson from scrimmage. But when they go on the ground, it's been all Vegas Ferguson.
Well, Andy Johnson is in there now. They usually bring him in situations where they want to throw the ball. This is one of those situations, 3rd and 3 or 4. And he's a very good receiver for a running back.
Don Westbrook also in as a 3rd wide receiver. Kavanaugh from the shotgun, scrambling right, looking for the first down, got the first down before going out of bounds.
Flag down. There may be illegal use of the hands against number 74, Shelby Jordan. Looked to me as though he was pushing the defensive lineman in the back when Kavanaugh took off. Let's see what the call is.
Well, it's against Buffalo.
Well, he sure saw something else. Again, New England continues to get the breaks.
The official injury report, which will not make Chuck Knox any happier, from the Bills sideline: Jeff Nixon a sprained knee, Joe Ferguson a sprained ankle. Neither will return today. We wonder if they'll play next week against San Francisco. Here's Cal Lepore.
Personal foul, unnecessary rough in the face mask, 71 defense. It's a first down.
Mike Kadish grabbed the face mask of Matt Kavanaugh. A first down at the 47-yard line of Buffalo. There's Kadish, number 71, who comes in as a 4th down lineman in passing situations. Not only have the Bills been outgained. They've been penalized more heavily than the Patriots have. Calhoun carries. Big haul off left tackle, and Calhoun is near the 35-yard line of Buffalo for another first down.
And you hear the crowd again saying, "Hoon, hoon." Let's take a look at this replay. They run a little trap in there. There's a trap block. Very good block. Calhoun gets up there, and there's no one there but Bill Simpson to meet him. Breaks through the hole cleanly. No one touches him until he comes to the free safety, number 45, Bill Simpson, who bulldogs him down.
12:50 and the clock moving. Early third quarter. Kavanaugh barking the signals. Two tight end attack. Francis left, Hasselbeck right. Ferguson. That hole closed in a hurry, led by Jim Haslett, number 55.
When you said it closed in a hurry, it sure did. They had him in a vice.
Lucius Sanford, 57, also got there. Gain of 1, 2nd and 9. 35-yard line of Buffalo. Patriots looking to build on a 14-0 lead. Sun settling in behind the stands, and it will become even colder down on the field. Temperature now has dipped into the high 20s, and the wind chill is below 0. Kavanaugh retreating on 2nd and long. Swinging it out of the backfield to Vegas Ferguson. Ferguson looking to pick up a block. Shane Nelson did a good job of shedding that block, and he makes the stop along with Charles Romes, number 26.
He did an excellent job of playing that. He had a blocker coming at him, and he did a super job. What they want to do is they want to try to get that linebacker off his feet. Shane Nelson shed the block, stayed on his feet, and was able to make the play. Tremendous effort.
Now on 3rd down and 6 from the 32, a 3-wide receiver set is coming up for New England with Westbrook, Jackson, and Morgan in, and just one running back. That's Andy Johnson, number 32. Johnson, the 6-year man out of Georgia. Excellent in these 3rd down situations. You liken him to a guy like Don McCauley for Baltimore. Rufus Bess in as the nickel back for Buffalo. From the shotgun, Kavanaugh. On 3rd and 6, he is under the gun, gets it away. Calhoun catches it, driven out, short of the first down.
Taken down by Steve Freeman.
Kavanaugh got big pressure from number 58, Isaiah Robinson, who came from the short side, not wanting to allow him to sit back there and be able to read. Let's take a look at this replay. We may get a shot of Isaiah coming in. There he is. There's Butch Robinson coming in, forcing him out of the pocket, forcing him to throw the ball a little before he wanted to.
Late in the first half, Ron Earhart had a 4th and 8. And the Patriot coach said, go for it. They did. Got a big gain, setting up 1st and goal on a pass to Russ Francis. A few minutes later, Kavanaugh hit Francis for a touchdown. Now on 4th and 3, they'll go for it again. 11:05 to play 3rd quarter. From the 29-yard line of Buffalo. And with a 14-0 lead, the Patriots need 3 yards. Kavanaugh pumps, looks, tucks it in. He's got a first down, 20-yard line, 15-yard line, slides down at the 13-yard line of Buffalo.
For being a very good actor, because let's take a look at the replay. We'll get a shot of him. When he decides to run that ball, he becomes an actor, and he has 45 Bill Simpson in front of him, but he fakes him out, comes back to the middle. Simpson can't get there to prevent him from getting the first down. Let's take a look at Russ Francis trying to work himself open. A nice double fake. Does a good job. He's open, but Kavanaugh has already decided now that he's going to run for that first down.
And run he did for 17 yards. Vegas Ferguson tripped up and down. Steve Freeman from his strong safety spot. Shot through, made a good defensive play. Give him a gain maybe nothing. Let's call it 2nd down and 10. Scoreboard says 2nd and 11, but the ball is right at the original line of scrimmage. So we'll say 2nd and 10.
Steve Freeman has really come on. 6 interceptions, playing very good at that strong safety position.
Look at this stat, Gene.
Boy, that's something. That is something. But I talked to a lot of those Patriots ball players. They were really upset, as you mentioned before, because the writers had come out and said they were a bunch of losers. They like their coach. They know that this game is key for the whole organization, players and coaches.
And now Matt Kavanaugh decides he wants to go to the sideline and talk things over with Ron Earhart. It is 2nd and 10. The ball is at the 13-yard line of Buffalo. The clock reads 9:33 to play 3rd quarter. The Patriots lead at 14-0. They're threatening to make it more. As it comes down to the crunch with just 2 games left in the regular season, the spotlight in this AFC East is on a couple of young quarterbacks. Cavanaugh for New England in his 3rd year out of Pittsburgh, but at least he has had some game experience. Dan Minucci, with Joe Ferguson hurt, twisting an ankle in that first quarter, is really playing outside of holding for kick attempts for the first time in his entire career in his 2nd year out of Kansas State, and what a situation he has come into.
You're right, and it definitely has an effect on that relationship between the quarterback and the receivers.
2nd and 10 from the 13-yard line. Cavanaugh goes out of the shotgun. Both these clubs use that formation. Cavanaugh throwing over the middle. It is caught by Andy Johnson. It'll be 1st and goal at the 1. Now they're saying touchdown. A delayed call. They call it a score. I thought he had been stopped short, but they say Johnson got the ball over the plane of the end line, and a touchdown for a 20-0 New England lead.
Well, let's take a look. Andy Johnson is going out to his left, makes a move, and comes back across the middle. They put him in there when they want to have a running back who has good hands and knows how to find that open area. Gets a good throw from Matt Cavanaugh. They're playing like a championship football team right now. These guys are doing everything right.
Cavanaugh's 2nd touchdown pass. 13-yarder. Smith drills it home. 46th consecutive point after that he has hit on this year. The touchdown for Andy Johnson was his 1st of the season. New England rolling with 9:26 left in the 3rd. New England has picked up right where they left off in the first half. Bob Costas along with Gene Washington. The Pats lead builds to 21-0.
They have that big lead. Now let's see what the Buffalo Bills are going to do. They're going to have to put the ball in the air if they want to get back into this game.
And Dan Minucci is going to be the guy who'll have to do it for them. Hubach kicks off. A short boot, the ball out across the 35-yard line. So Buffalo will have reasonably good field position as they try and dig into this 21-0 deficit. That last play on which Johnson scored looked awfully close to me. Let's look at it again, Gene. Looked to me like he was down at the 1.
We have a little different angle up here, and I think what we'll see on this replay is that the official who's closest will look to the other official from the far side for him to give the call. I think what happened is that Andy Johnson, as soon as he hit down, had a part of his body across that plane.
Johnson did get the ball across, but it looked to me like he was still holding the ball out away from the goal line when his knee hit it about the 1. Joe Cribbs carries. Moving down toward 9 minutes to play in the 3rd quarter.
Well, an interesting scenario is building up. Let's assume that Buffalo does not win this football game. They have to go out next week and play San Francisco. I think the key is going to be whether Ferguson can come back from that injury today and play next week. But they're going to be playing against a team, San Francisco, who can put lots of points on the board.
And what an interesting role San Francisco from the NFC West has played in this race in the AFC East. They have already beaten New England. Now the Patriots will look for some help from the 49ers, hoping they can also upset Buffalo. Cribbs carries and gets the 1st down. Ball at midfield and the clock moving. 8 minutes and 15 seconds. This series, of course, a long-standing one. Goes back to AFL days, when Buffalo and New England were usually the top 2 teams in the Eastern Division of the old AFL. Dave Perilli would battle Jack Kemp in many of those games. Gene Washington was but a lad. Minucci scrambling. Minucci back to the line of scrimmage, and wisely in an act of self-preservation out of bounds.
Minucci on a key.
In this situation, you wonder what they talked about when they got into the dressing room. Minucci's in a tough spot. He's going to have to put the ball in the air. New England is doing everything right. They're getting all of the breaks. It's a tough position for a quarterback to come in, and as you mentioned before, hasn't thrown a pass all season before today's game. What happens is that the receivers who have gotten accustomed to Ferguson and the way he throws the ball, now they have to begin to wonder themselves, and they wonder, should I make an adjustment on my route? And when you start doing that, the problems just compound.
Minucci, as a matter of fact, had not thrown a pass in a regular season game in his entire career before today. 2nd and 10. Scrambling up the middle. Looking. Tucks it in. 5 yards. Maybe 7 before he goes down. In the grasp of Mike Haynes, the right cornerback.
Mike Haynes, the right show, defensive play.
7.5 minutes to play, third quarter. 3rd down and 3 coming up. Here's Jerry Butler working against Haynes.
He gets into that middle, into that open area in the zone. He's trying to find a spot. But Rick Sanford is right there to make sure that they don't throw the ball in there, or if they do, he's going to take it away. These situations, when you want to try to get the momentum shifted, you almost do anything to try to make something happen. Broken plays. Oftentimes a quarterback can get a play like that out of a broken play.
Joe Cribbs does not get what he needs. They're short of it, I believe. They had to go to just shy of the 40-yard line. I think they are short of it by less than a yard. If they are, Chuck Knox, conferring there with Case Stevenson, the quarterback coach, almost has to go for it in this situation.
Well, that's still a tough call. There's still plenty of time. I mean, they can score lots of points still in the second half. But maybe you do go for it. Maybe you do something to try to change the momentum. If they go for it and they get it, then that can build up their own self-confidence.
They are short by a foot. They got to go for it, Gene.
Well, I think you're right, and I think that's the indication they are going to go for it. If they don't make it, it might be sayonara. These Pats are so fired up now. If they hold them here, this crowd's going to roar, and these guys are just going to have even more adrenaline flowing in their veins.
So frequently in the long NFL season now, 16 games, injuries play an important part in who wins the divisions, who gets into the playoffs. And what a cruel blow it would be for Buffalo if Ferguson's injury is serious and if he can't play next week against San Francisco, as well as missing virtually all of this game. Leaks and Cribbs, again, are the running backs. Cribbs 20, Leaks 48. They need less than a yard. Leaks gets it. First down, Buffalo. Roosevelt Leaks at 5'10" and about 230 pounds. Pretty tough to stop him when he needs only a foot.
And what do? They run behind their best blocker, Reggie McKenzie. He paves the way and he opens it up. And he gets it very clear. Let's take a look. Almost missed the handoff.
I noticed that myself, Gene, and that's an example of Minucci not having worked with these people as extensively as Ferguson. He had to reach to get that ball into Leak's gut. The timing just a little bit off. 5:55 to play third quarter. Buffalo trailing 21-0. Minucci wings one to the sideline for Butler. Jerry Butler whirling around and going down after a very short game. Rod Schote, the right outside linebacker, makes the play and gets a high five from Ray Claiborne.
And number 71, Ray Hamilton, was out there coming from nose tackle, getting all the way to the sideline to help make the tackle on a wide receiver on a screen play. That's desire.
Ray Hamilton there, 71 going out. Tony McGee comes in. 2nd and 8 from the 36-yard line. 5:15 to play. Curtis Brown and Joe Cribbs are the backs. Minucci with protection, which is now breaking down, and he is belted. Loses the football. It belongs to New England unless they rule that the fumble came after the sack, and that might be the ruling.
I think they're going to rule that the defenders had control of the quarterback, and that's when they call the play dead. Let's take a look on the replay. They obviously had control of him right here. Once they get control, the official rules that the play is over. Although looking from this replay, it looked like the ball squirted away, though, just after they hit him.
John Zamberlin very politely moving the official out of the way in an effort to recover the ball. It was Richard Bishop and Tony McGee who squeezed Minucci and caused the fumble. That is the 5th New England sack against a team which, coming into today's game, had allowed only 3 sacks in the last 8 weeks and only 12 sacks through 14 games. Best protection figure in the entire NFL. Now they have 3rd and 27 with 4:32 left in the third quarter and a 3-touchdown deficit. Minucci got to crank one up. He does over the middle. Has his target, but it's short of the first down. Jerry Butler makes the catch. Well, they're close enough to make it a realistic try on 4th down. They got 21. It's 4th and 6. Let's watch Jerry Butler.
Butler has been very effective in getting downfield, avoiding the initial contact with the linebacker out here, getting downfield, putting pressure on the defensive back, driving him off. Then he comes into the middle and finds that open area. And Butler is a big target for a wide receiver. He has good height, so a quarterback likes to get the ball to a guy. The ball needs to be a little high. If you have a guy with that height and agility, he can go up and get it.
3:45 and the clock moving. And now Minucci wants to go to the sideline and talk things over. So Minucci will talk with Knox and Stevenson. We'll come back with 4th and a long 5 facing the Buffalo Bills. 3:46 to play, third quarter. The first downs. Patriots have 18. Buffalo has but 5. The Bills have been blanked on the scoreboard, trailing 21-0. 4th and a long 5. Ball at the 33-yard line of New England. Minucci after the timeout from the shotgun set. Scrambling up the middle, sacked. 6th sack of the day for the New England front 4. Tony McGee makes the play.
Dan Minucci obviously saw a defense that they weren't expecting. He changed the play at the line of scrimmage. He called an audible. The result wasn't very good for them. New England coming in, putting lots of pressure on, getting the sack, taking over now in good field position themselves.
A dejected Dan Minucci must sit down. It's been all New England on both sides of the line of scrimmage so far today. Santa Claus wearing the red and white of the New England Patriots, although I guess he had the uniform first. All the gifts have belonged to the Pats today. 21-0 they lead. Kavanaugh back to take the snap from his own 40-yard line. Vegas Ferguson gains about 6. Cleveland's lead over Minnesota is a touchdown in the third quarter. Houston a 6-point lead at Green Bay in the third. Kansas City jumps in front of Pittsburgh 16-7 in the third. If the Steelers lose, they can just about forget it. Cardinals and the Eagles in a defensive struggle. Atlanta leads San Francisco. And it will be at San Francisco that Buffalo will try and clinch it next week. 7-3 the score there. Atlanta closing in on the NFC West title. Calhoun carries. And the Bills hold a team meeting on his body. So much for him. Jets now lead New Orleans 13-7. Saints going for 15 in a row. And Cincinnati over Chicago at Soldier Field 14-0 in the second. 2:40 left, third quarter. Patriots content to let that clock roll. They're in no hurry at all. This is not the most comfortable time of year to be a cheerleader. Use those pom-poms to warm your knees. Third down conversions, Pats are 6 of 8. 3rd and 4 from the shotgun. They give it to Calhoun and didn't fool anybody.
That's not a bad call in this situation. You have a comfortable lead, 21 points. Maybe you pop this one and you get a big gainer out of it. The other side, though, is if you put it up in the air and you get an interception, the Bills end up with the football in good field position. Their defense, the Pats defense, is playing so well. Why not let them come out on the field, do their job with a 21-point lead? They know that Buffalo's going to throw the ball. Those guys can lay their ears back now and get that pass rush coming.
And the bad snap. Hubach, who was back to punt for the first time, look out, safety. That might not have been such a bad move. Instead of trying to kick it, go down for the 2 points and kick it from the 20-yard line instead of giving them the ball at the 15 or the 20.
Well, this snap wasn't even close. He didn't even jump for it because it was so high over his head. And you're right, Bob. He made the right decision. There's no point in trying to kick this ball now because the result is likely to be a touchdown for Buffalo. He does a smart thing. He takes the safety. Let's take a look at this angle. Again, it's not even close. He just turns and tries to run under it like a center fielder. He can't get there, though. This is really the first break for Buffalo.
Dwight Wheeler snapped the ball high. Rufus Best gets the 2 points with the tackle in the end zone for the safety. Coming right back. Thank you, Bryant. With the free kick, they will not punt it. Hubach will kick it off the placement. Roland James holds it for him. And Hubac into that wind sends one wobbling down to the 30-yard line where Roland Hooks bobbles it, picks it back up, retreats, and is spun down. Bill Matthews got there. Alan Clark was also there, 35.
I think there's a flag down on the field. Could be a very important penalty if it's against New England for Buffalo. Maybe get some of the field position back for them.
Looks like it's against the Bills, Gene. Illegal use of the hands against Buffalo, says Cal Lepore. On the botched punt attempt, Dwight Wheeler was the guy who centered the ball. The first time all season that Wheeler has had a bad snap. It's a very cold day, and that was Wheeler's first snap attempt on a punt because New England is yet to kick the ball all day long.
Illegal use of the hands, 55. Returning team to first down.
So the ball is back at the 24-yard line for a 1st and 10. And David Hum has come into the game. Minucci had his turn. Now it's David Hum, the 3rd-string quarterback, wearing number 10. So it was Wheeler who made the snap over the head of Hubac. Hubac tackled in the end zone by Rufus Bess of the Bills. And Buffalo is on the scoreboard with the safety trailing 21-2. Joe Cribbs slips through. Nice run by Cribbs, about 8 yards. 2nd and 2 coming up. Ray Sugar Bear Hamilton, the tackler. Next Saturday, you can start your day with NFL 80. Bryant Gumbel, the host, of course. And you'll get all the inside info you need on the final weekend of the regular season. Plus a special feature on the sounds of football. And you will hear just football sounds, not broadcaster sounds, as the Jets meet the Dolphins in the announcerless game from the Orange Bowl. And then it'll be college basketball as the Indiana Hoosiers meet the North Carolina Tar Heels, all here on NBC Sports next Saturday. Joe Cribbs again. Cribbs for first down yardage for Buffalo. Clock moving, 35 seconds to play, 3rd quarter.
It's interesting that Buffalo has decided to run the ball as opposed to putting it in the air right away. Maybe what they want to do is try to spring Joe Cribbs on a big gainer or two and force New England to come up and play a little tighter. Then maybe they'll go to some play action passes.
David Hum in his 6th year out of Nebraska. He, like Minucci, had not thrown a pass prior to today. This will be his first toss of the season. Under pressure, he gets it away, batted away, and incomplete, and nearly intercepted by John Zamberling. Intended receiver Jerry Butler, number 80.
As I mentioned before, they might be trying to set up a situation to go to play action. That's just what they did. Let's take a look. Fakes it into the line. He's dropping back. He's trying to find Butler, but there's nothing there. He waits until the last minute, and look at that hit. He gets sandwiched between 2 of the New England players, and I think the result is that those New England players ended up hitting each other more than they did David Hum.
Pat's defense excellent on both ends. Pressure off the rush, secondary coverage very good. Hum, the former Oakland Raider, hands the ball to Joe Cribbs. There was a hole briefly off right tackle. Ray Hamilton closed it, and that's the end of the 3rd quarter. They get 3 on the play. It'll be 3rd and 7 coming up when we return. But at the end of the 3rd quarter, the score is New England 21 and Buffalo 2. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station. And we are proud of our coverage of NFL football. There in the back, we see someone vacationing from Iceland. And these are balmy skies as far as he's concerned. No shirt necessary under the overalls. The Patriots have dominated virtually every statistical category. They lead 21-2. The ball is at the 41-yard line of Buffalo as we start the 4th quarter. David Hum out of the Buffalo bullpen, their 3rd quarterback today. And the southpaw is in trouble. They've been sacked 6 times. He gets it away. It's batted up in the air and intercepted. A diving interception by Rod Schote. For Schote, his 3rd interception of the 1980 season.
What a tremendous effort on the part of Rod Schote. When that ball was tipped, let's take a look. Lots of pressure. Hum's getting lots of pressure. He knows that he needs to get the ball in the air. They have to get it up to have a chance to win. The ball is tipped. Schote makes a diving effort to come up with that. Look at that. Tremendous effort. A very underrated player having a tremendous season this year.
From the New England 41. First and 10 Patriots. Big lead, 14:49 left. Thanks a lot, Bryant. And let's look at this play again with Richard Bishop and Julius Adams putting pressure on. A desperation try by Roland Hooks off the pass from Hum, batted in the air, and showed a great defensive play.
You talk to the New England players and you ask them about their defense, and one of the first guys they mention is Rod Show. They say he's having a super year.
Kavanaugh hands the ball to Don Calhoun. Calhoun about 3 yards out to the 44-yard line, 2nd and 7. Clock winding down, 14:35 to play in the ball game. New England had a 14-0 lead at halftime. It's 21-2 right now. The Bills really have never had a serious scoring threat.
Well, when your #1 quarterback goes out early in the ball game, it has a psychological effect on your team. You know, you take a guy who's your leader and he's away, and it just has to have an effect.
Calhoun again. 3rd and about 5 will be upcoming. Kavanaugh for the day has hit 10 of 15, 108 yards, 2 touchdowns, 1 to Francis, 1 to Andy Johnson. Bill Simpson picked off one of his throws. That's the only one that Kavanaugh has had intercepted today.
Atlanta, if you look back at the Pats season, Atlanta is really the only team that has soundly beaten them, where they really weren't in the ball game that much. The other games that they lost, there were fluke plays, guys going for interceptions, the ball being tipped away. But you look at the way they're playing today, and this is the kind of team you saw early in the season and last year.
Well, Buffalo did beat them in October at Buffalo, 31-13. This is 3rd down with Kavanaugh throwing off play action, big play. Harold Jackson, there's your man. We've been waiting for him to get in on one all day long, Gene. 20-yard pickup, 1st down in Buffalo territory, inside the 30.
Harold Jackson had 1 pass thrown his way last week. He was wondering if he was still in the game plan. He still has tremendous speed, lots of savvy. He knows how to find that open area. Gets the ball to him. Harold Jackson, one of the truly outstanding wide receivers in the game, and a guy at his age can still run a 4.40.
And the ball to the 27-yard line of Buffalo. The Patriots, we were talking about that game in October in Buffalo. The Patriots feel like they were in the game. That was Jackson's first catch of the day. Buffalo might contend that they soundly beat them, 31-13 the final. Here's Calhoun roaring off left tackle. And Calhoun has 1st down yardage near the 15-yard line. So perhaps you could put that game in the same category as Atlanta. This is a 12-yard pickup for Calhoun.
Look at the drive by that offensive line on the part of the Pats. Those guys are blowing them out. Hanna, Wheeler, Shelby Jordan. They're inspired now. These guys can sense it. You know, they can sense they're going to get into the playoffs. And once you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. It's a whole new ball game.
But to complete the thought, at 8-6, New England did lose by relatively large margins to both Atlanta and Buffalo. The other four games, they lost by a total of 14 points. Mosi Tatupu. The Tatupu struggles inside the 15-yard line. The clock is moving, 11:45 remaining.
I think the important thing about that thought, Bob, is that the players on the New England team felt that they were always in the game and they had a chance to win. And I think that's the key. If they feel that they can win a football game, that means an awful lot. They knew that their backs were against the wall today. For some of the players, the coach, everybody's talking about the fact that they're losers. And they've come out and they're playing championship football. They can go from this game and go right through the playoffs, and they have the capabilities of winning the entire package.
Kavanaugh to Tatupu. Tatupu breaking out of the grasp of a tackler, struggling to the 10-yard line.
If you look at the size of his legs, look at his body from the waist down, you can see why he's very difficult to bring down. A guy that has a center of gravity that low to the ground. When the guy gets in the ball game like this, the team is going well, he wants to contribute, and he does a good job there.
Got away from Shane Nelson and Steve Freeman before finally being stopped. They need 3 on 3rd down from the 10-yard line. Kavanaugh rolling right, got to get to about the 7, batted away, incomplete. Haslett knocked it away. Francis was the intended receiver, number 81.
If Haslett hadn't gotten out there and tipped it away at the last minute, let's take a look at this replay. Francis goes down and he breaks to the outside. Kavanaugh sees it, but he comes back to the middle, tries to get it in there, and Haslett just does tip it away. Russ Francis, he feels a touchdown right now. He says, I'm going to get it there. Just, oh, right at the last minute. Tipped it away. Just for good measure, he gets a little shot from the behind.
Kavanaugh will crouch and hold at the 17-yard line. Smith to kick from this distance. He's been perfect, 9 of 9. You can't find a guy who is more consistently accurate in short and medium range situations than Smith. And he puts this one through. John Smith, a 27-yarder. 10 minutes and 21 seconds to play in the ball game at Foxborough. The Patriots have padded their lead to 24-2. The skyline above Schaefer Stadium.
Ominous looking clouds, but I think they are only up over half this area, and the clouds always seem to be over Buffalo, the way things have been going today.
Hubach kicks off. Curtis Brown fields it. Brown out near the 30-yard line of Buffalo with the clock showing 10 minutes and 10 seconds to play. Steve King makes the tackle, number 52. You know, earlier, Gene, we were talking about the fact that coming into this game, New England had lost 6 times. They had been beaten soundly twice, Buffalo and Atlanta. The other 4 games, they lost by a total of 14 points. But turn it around. Look at Buffalo. I don't think they have to feel disheartened by this defeat. New England is a good ball club. They played virtually the entire game, the Bills did, without their top quarterback in Ferguson. And Hum and Minucci not only are backups, they're completely rusty. Neither one had thrown a pass all season long prior to today. Here is Hum dropping back on first down. And this is complete at the sideline. Caught by Ron Jesse, number 81, another former Ram whom Chuck Knox has brought to Buffalo. Now take a look at some of the people the Bills have beaten. Oakland, San Diego, New England, Pittsburgh, and Los Angeles. They have proven that they can beat the good teams. Cleveland leading Minnesota, but only by a touchdown in the 4th quarter. A 6-point lead for Houston. Green Bay playing them tough after last week's 61-7 loss against Chicago. Pittsburgh gets back into it in the 4th quarter, down by 2 against Kansas City. 2nd down and 3 for the Bills. Hum looking and cranking one out there deep. Duke Ferguson was the intended receiver, but Tim Fox, the free safety, was closer to it. Philly is on the board. That game was scoreless into the 3rd quarter. It's 10-0 now in the 4th for the Eagles. Atlanta 21-3 over San Francisco, rolling toward a record of 12-3. New Orleans has a chance for that first win, 14-13 in the 4th over the Jets, but the Saints have seen too many leads slip away to consider anything certain. Cincinnati over Chicago at Soldier Field in the 2nd quarter. 3rd and 3. Shotgun from the 36 of Buffalo. Hum dodges one tackle. Slips out of the grasp of another. First down. Fumbles as he's hit. Conrad Dobler comes over and recovers it for Buffalo. First down for the Bills.
New England is going with a 4-down lineman rush, and what they do when they get in that situation is they run lots of stunts in the middle like they did that time, and they put lots of pressure on the quarterback. And their defensive backs are not playing back. They're not giving a cushion. They're playing their regular football. They're going to make this club earn anything that they get. And they have the athletes on the corner in Claiborne and Hayes to play you man-to-man as good as anybody in the league. And they're saying, you guys, the Bills, you're going to have to earn anything. We're not going to let you take the ball and go down the field. And you look at how tight they're playing them. They're still playing man-to-man out there.
9:07 on the clock. 1st and 10 from the 41. The Patriots 24 and the Bills 2. Hum unloads, finds a target. Curtis Brown breaks a tackle. 45-yard line near the 40 of New England and shoved out of bounds, stopping the clock with 8:55 left. Ray Claiborne coming over to make the defensive play.
Let's take a look at this replay. David Hum drops back, gets a nice throw off. Brown breaks the tackle, turns a gun run out of this. I think the interesting thing is, though, even in this situation, Buffalo has not lost their poise. And I think that's a good sign. They're continuing to play their brand of football. They don't have their #1 quarterback in there, but you can still see that they're a poised football team, and that's going to make a difference next week when they go out to San Francisco in a must-win situation.
And the big question all week long in Buffalo will be, can Joe Ferguson make it for that game? Regardless of what happens here, and a loss is apparent for Buffalo, they will win their divisional title if they beat San Francisco next week. The seldom used Terry Miller takes this pass down to the 35-yard line of the Patriots. Now here's a guy, Miller, in his 3rd year out of Oklahoma State in 1978 as a rookie, 1,060 yards and 7 touchdowns. Last year dropped under 500 yards. This year he's hardly played at all.
Well, he obviously has the ability. But he's playing behind a guy, Joe Cribbs, who's having a terrific season. When you have one player who's playing well, you don't want to interrupt his flow. Miller is unfortunately playing behind Cribbs, who's having a great year, but he still has the ability. What happens if Cribbs comes up with an injury? Then you need a guy like this.
8:10 left. Hum. Incomplete. Ron Jesse was there. Roosevelt Leaks had also come out of the backfield, and the ball fell between the two of them. To carry the thought about wins and losses a step further, and I want to make this point because of the fact that since the game has been all New England, naturally we've talked more about the Patriots than we have about the Bills, but Buffalo has beaten potential playoff teams: Oakland, San Diego, New England, Pittsburgh, and LA. They have lost 4 times, and only one of their 4 defeats has been a thrashing. Atlanta beat them, and beat them soundly. They've lost twice in close games to Baltimore. Turnovers hurt them in those ball games, and they were beaten by a field goal at Miami, a team which they beat earlier in the season in Buffalo. So they don't have to feel like they are outmanned by anybody they take the field against. Off the shotgun, Hum. Hum's one out to Terry Miller, who juggles and drops.
Miller almost had a chance to turn that into a big play. Tim Fox came across. He thought he had a shot for an interception. Let's take a look at this replay. Hum is trying to get the ball out there to Miller on the sideline. Tim Fox is reading it very well. He cuts in front, thinks he has the interception, and misses the ball. Miller's juggling it. If he'd been able to hold on to that ball, he might have been able to turn it in. He had a blocker in front. Might have been able to turn that into a touchdown.
Hum is 3 for 8 for 31 yards. And he's had 1 intercepted. Exactly 8 minutes to go. 4th and 5 from the 35 of New England. The Bills have never been much closer than this. Hum throwing, and incomplete. And New England takes over on downs. Bills quarterbacks, Hum, Minucci, and earlier Ferguson, have been sacked 6 times today by the New England Rush. That's half as many times as the Buffalo quarterbacks have been sacked all season long through 14 games coming into this afternoon's action. And when they haven't been sacked, they've frequently thrown under pressure. New England has the ball back, a 22-point lead, 7:55 left. Let's take a look at what's happening at Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh. It's now 21-16 with 6:08 left in the 4th quarter. Marv Albert and Mike Hafner have a good one going there. It was 16-7 Kansas City for a while, but Terry Bradshaw hit Theo Bell from 13 yards out. Rocky Blyer scored on an 11-yard run, and the Steelers have the lead back. They need to win their 2 remaining games, and then they need plenty of help and just the right combination all around the league if they're to have some kind of playoff chance. Mosi Tatupu carrying on 1st down. On 1st down this afternoon, Gene, the Patriots have run 20 times, and they have passed twice.
Buffalo now, I think what they're doing, and I've played against, as I mentioned before, Chuck Knox football team. One of the things that can characterize any of his football teams is character and poise. And these guys continue to play with poise and character. They're not going to roll over and die and just say the game's over. They're going to continue to come. They're going to continue to stick it to New England. And they're going to have to earn everything they get.
On 2nd and 9, they go right into the shotgun. Kavanaugh throws it as he is being hit, and it's picked off. Buffalo has the ball back at their 45-yard line. Let's see who comes up out of this pack. It's Steve Freeman with his 7th interception of the season. Last week, he took one away on a Pat Hayden throw and ran it back 47 yards for a touchdown.
That ball sailed on Matt Cavanaugh, and the reason is that he was tackled just as he was about to release it. But as I mentioned before, this is a team with character, this Buffalo team, and this is the result. They're not giving up.
Second time Cavanaugh has been intercepted this afternoon. That's the whole story. 7 minutes and 3 seconds separating the New England Patriots from a victory that would draw them to within a game of the Buffalo Bills in the AFC East. If New England does not make the playoffs, Gene, they will look back ruefully at what happened the past 2 weeks against San Francisco and Monday night at Miami. If they'd won either one of those 2 games, they'd be in great shape with the victory here. Hum has his pass knocked down by Steve Nelson, who was closing fast from his linebacker spot.
Second down and 10.
Bowl action coming up over the holiday season on NBC. The Fiesta Bowl on December 26th, 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Joe Paterno's Nittany Lions of Penn State against Earl Bruce's Ohio State Buckeyes. And then, of course, on New Year's Day, we've got the Rose Bowl with Washington against number 5 Michigan, the champions of the Big Ten. That's at 4:30 Eastern Time, and that's followed by the Orange Bowl. The second-ranked Florida State goes against Big 8 champion Oklahoma. 3 great bowl games over the holidays on NBC. Nearly intercepted by Nelson.
Earlier, some of the people had criticized the Pats down linemen for not putting pressure on the quarterback. I talked to some of the players and I said, is there a problem? They say, not at all. It's tough to get a good rush from a 3-4, but they're not in a 3-4 now. They have a big lead. They have 4 down linemen. Looks like they still can rush the quarterback to me.
Nelson almost had his 4th interception of the season. Hum has missed connections on his last 5 passes. He has been under pressure every time. 6:51 left, 3rd and 10 from the Buffalo 44. Miller and Hooks are in the ball game, each set in the slot off the shotgun. Hum looking and throwing, and out across midfield. The catch is made. They are shy of the first down. Duke Ferguson gathered it in, and Ray Claiborne hit him immediately.
Let's take a look at this replay. Duke Ferguson is in now. He's up against one of the best corners in the league, and Ray Claiborne, who's still in good position. Look at that. He's running step by step, but Ferguson is able to shield him away from the ball. Bob, an interesting point here. Buffalo now has Ferguson in the game, Duke Ferguson and Ron Jesse. They've taken their starting wide receivers out, and I think that's a very smart move. They're likely to lose this football game. In a passing situation like this, you can get your receivers hurt. Why get your starting guys injured today? Because next week is a game that's going to count out in San Francisco.
So Jesse and Ferguson must not only play, but perhaps be sacrificial lambs. 4th and 2, there goes the ball. Might turn into a first down. The ball is scooped up here. And then they lose it. Reggie McKenzie goes galloping down inside the 20-yard line. Mike Haynes comes up with the loose football after he coughed it up. And let's watch all the confusion unfold again.
Well, you'll see Reggie McKenzie pick this ball up, and Reggie has blocked for O.J. in this situation so many times. He's running now. He's looking for his blockers, getting a little high-step action going. Those linemen oftentimes say, why do you guys drop the football when you get tackled?
Steve Nelson not only tackled him, but purposely reached in and punched the ball out. Well, what a day it's been for Buffalo.
All of the breaks are going their way, going towards the Pats. As we mentioned before, a complete reversal of their previous game.
In case you're wondering, had that play occurred in the last 2 minutes of either half, the ball would have been blown dead because you cannot advance a 4th down fumble. The offense cannot. But since we still have 5 minutes and 50 seconds left, McKenzie took off, and Nelson, look at this. Boom, he's going to punch it right out.
What an angle. He grabbed a hold of his jersey, and he took 2 shots at it. The second one was right on the target.
Bosi Tatupu comes around left end and gets a good game. So David Hum on 4th and 2 popped the ball up, and for once it looked like fate would smile on the Bills as McKenzie took off like his old teammate O.J. Simpson, racing down the sideline, but a complete reversal as he fumbles it, and it was Mike Haynes after the Nelson hit who recovered the loose ball for New England.
I've been in situations like that before as a player. and you just get the feeling that nothing's going to go right. When it rains, it pours. And it started off very early, the first play of the game, and you had a sense that things were just not going to go right for Buffalo today.
Alan Clark is in, along with Mosi Tatupu. Tatupu got 9 on the last carry. Gets nothing on this one. It'll be 3rd and 1 coming up. Clock moving, 5:35 left. Fred Smerlis, the nose tackle, gave him a rather rude "how do you do?" Look at Nelson showing Sugar Bear Hamilton how he did it.
Not only did he knock the ball away, but he gave Reggie a shot to the kidneys before he did it. Well, these New England players have done today what they decided to do early in the week. They had a meeting with their coaches. They told the press, they said, look, we're going to play the way we should have been playing. It's not the coach's fault.
Alan Clark breaks one off right tackle. Bill Simpson stops him, but not before he crosses the 40-yard line, a 14-yard run, and another New England first down. Clock moving with 4:44 left.
41-yard line.
First downs are 21-8 in favor of the Patriots. Scoreboard 24-2 New England. Next week, Patriots to the Superdome to take on the Saints. The Bills out to the coast to play San Francisco. A team which a couple of weeks ago upset New England and dealt a damaging blow to their playoff hopes. If, however, the 49ers can return the favor against the Bills, the Pats might be back in the driver's seat. Cleveland lengthens their lead over Minnesota, which is good news for Detroit. 23-9 the score. Browns trying to wrap it up. NFC Central. And Houston with breathing room against Green Bay. It had been 6-3 just a while ago.
2nd and 6.
That score remains the same. They're late in the 4th quarter now at Three Rivers, 21-16 Steelers. 3:38 left, 2nd down and 6.
And things continue to go wrong for Buffalo because we have snow coming now.
Mosi Tatupu. Well, snow shouldn't bother the Bills. They've seen that before. It just bothers a guy like you from San Francisco.
That it does. We have one of the Bill players who's down. They're taking an injury timeout. Take a look at the flags. You think that wind is not blowing? Ooh, boy.
It gets colder and darker, and the snow comes down. The Patriot fans whoop it up. They may or may not have another chance to see their team this year. It depends upon whether the Pats can make the playoffs, and then depending upon just how the breakdown goes, they may or may not have a home field advantage at any point in the playoffs. Buffalo player is down on the play. Our view has him shielded. We'll get you the information as soon as we can. Next Sunday, the final week of the NFL season, NBC Sports carries you all the way to the Super Bowl. Brian Gumbel has all the latest news around the NFL, including a preview of the playoffs, all on NFL 80 and its regional action. Cleveland against Cincinnati and other regional games, all here on NBC Sports. Check your local listings for the game and time in your area. The clock is stopped with 3 minutes and 15 seconds to go. And it's Jim Haslett who made the tackle on the last play and also was shaken up. Outstanding young inside linebacker of the Buffalo Bills. Haslett, their #2 draft choice in 1979. And according to the Associated Press, he was the AFC's Defensive Rookie of the Year last season.
Coming off under his own power. I think what happened is he got the wind knocked out of him. He's going to be okay. Let's give New England credit for really rising to the occasion. Coming into today's ball game, as we mentioned before, with their backs against the wall, a must-win situation. And not only are they going to win, but they're doing it in a convincing fashion. They've run the ball extremely well today. Before they had won by throwing the ball, but today they've ran the ball. They've done a very good job. And I think that they have the momentum now to go right into the playoffs and look like the New England team of the past couple of years.
And their fans, who had been grumbling earlier, are behind them now and roaring on every play. Alan Clark carries on 3rd and 9. He's stopped, and Hubach will have to punt for the first time today. He went back in punt formation in the 3rd quarter, but the ball was snapped over his head, and he was tackled in the end zone for a safety, and the only 2 points of the day for Buffalo. So actually, he is yet to punt. This will be a first, which is pretty well indicative of the way the game has gone.
As you mentioned before, Buffalo certainly doesn't have anything to be ashamed about. Starting quarterback goes out of the game very early. They can still win it by beating San Francisco next week out in San Francisco. So they have time to go back and regroup and continue with the fine effort that they've given all season long. Go out to San Francisco and win, and they're going to be in fine shape.
Either Oakland, Denver, or the Miami-Baltimore game coming up next. Second half of the doubleheader on NBC. We have reached the 2-minute warning, so that stops the clock before Hubach comes in to punt. We're coming back to snowy Foxborough, Massachusetts, right after this. Mike Hubach, the rookie out of Kansas, 11th round Patriot draft choice to punt. And the New England fans are holding an impromptu celebration as the snow falls all around them. Hubach's kick fielded by Roland Hooks at the 25-yard line. And on the fair catch, the Bills have the ball back. 1 minute and 52 seconds and 3 timeouts left. Only a 29-yard punt by Hubach, no return.
With a penalty flag down, they're conferring out there to see who it's going to be against. It's obviously against Buffalo. Everything's been going against Buffalo all day. I don't see any reason why it should change now. Do you?
The atmosphere, a late December game, darkness descending during the 4th quarter, and then snow as we listen to Cal Lepore.
Personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 55. Return, first down.
This kind of atmosphere, this setting, for a late season Buffalo New England game makes you feel like you should be hearing names like Cookie Gilchrist and Albert Dubenian.
Did you see that? Hasler came in there and let one of the Patriots know that he's still around.
David Humm from the shotgun throws incomplete.
Incomplete. Intended receiver Roosevelt leaks.
Roosevelt leaks the target. Minnesota gets a bit closer, but that has to be late in the 4th quarter now. 23-15 against the Browns. What battles these teams used to have in the old AFL days. Gino Cappelletti and the boys. These fans figure it's time to get home and get warm by the fire. 1 minute 47 left. Bills have all 3 timeouts. They want to prolong their agony. There's the 7th sack. We will give Ray Sugar Bear Hamilton credit for it. And let's make it 8 sacks for the New England pass rushers. Doug McDougal was also in on the play.
New England club continues to impress. They're all fired up. It's going to be exciting out there when they play next week. They may need some help. Well, I guess they're obviously going to need some help to get into the playoffs. But these guys look so terrific today. Everyone is contributing. Tremendous enthusiasm. And the score is indicative of the way they played.
3rd and 19 from the 4-yard line. Humm out of the end zone. Incomplete.
Ordinarily, that would have been a catchable pass if you didn't have all the snow on the ground. Reuben Gant was coming across. Could have been able to stop and reach back and catch that ball, but under these conditions, he just couldn't stop and reach back at all.
So through 14 games, Joe Ferguson had been sacked a dozen times. Ferguson, Minucci, and Humm dumped 75% of that total today alone. with 8 sacks. Actually, my math needs some work. That's 67%, 2/3 as many times. I'm sorry I brought the whole subject up. Buffalo at San Francisco next week. New England will be under the dome against New Orleans. The punt by Cater from out of the end zone. They let it drop and roll, not risking a fumble. At about the 46-yard line of the Patriots, it is down. 59 seconds left. A 50-yard Greg Cater punt with no return. So next week at the Dome, the Patriots will be looking to accomplish 2 things. Most importantly, finish off at 10-6 and then await the outcome of other games to see whether or not they are a division titleist or possibly a wild card, or even if they win, it's possible they would be neither. They might also be looking to give New Orleans the rather dubious distinction of being the first 0-16 team in NFL history. Kavanaugh sits down and the clock runs with 52 seconds.
In any case, they have taken the first step, which was to win today. That was paramount. They've done it. They're in excellent shape now to continue to go on to win next week. This Buffalo team could have cinched it today. Their quarterback was injured. They didn't do it. If he's healthy and can come back and play next week in San Francisco, they're no worse off. They're still going to be in excellent shape. Chuck Knox is going to keep this team on the right perspective. These guys know that they're a good football team. You mentioned that they have beaten good teams all season long. They're not going to let this loss slow them down at all.
If Buffalo wins next week at San Francisco, it doesn't make any difference what New England does against New Orleans. The Bills will be 11-5. They will be the champions of the AFC East. If they lose, 10-6 might still get them into the playoffs as titleists if New England is upset at New Orleans, or possibly as a wild card team if New England wins the division. This one is over. The gun sounds and the final score. The Patriots 24 and the Bills 2. The Patriots are now 9-6, and Ron Earhart gets a ride off the field. Buffalo is 10-5. A game separates them in the Eastern Division race with a game remaining. New England led 14-0 at the half, and they go out with a 24-2 victory. Vegas Ferguson had a touchdown run of 9 yards for them. Matt Cavanaugh threw touchdown passes, one to Russ Francis. Another one went to Andy Johnson. John Smith had a 27-yard field goal. Buffalo really never threatened with their offense. They got a safety in the 3rd quarter, and that's all. The executive producer of NBC's NFL Football is Don Ohlmeyer. Coordinating producer, Ted Nathanson. The telecast of today's game has been produced by Peter Rawl. Directed by Richard Klein. Technical director, Arnold Rand. Associate director, John Libretto. For Gene Washington, I'm Bob Costas. Now stay tuned for the Budweiser NFL Report right after these messages from your local station.